was real, only to be ghosted. Thought you were my friend. Till the end. Thought the time would heal.
This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Sixteen teams have made their way to the City of Love, but only one will depart with the object of everyone's desire, the Champions Trophy. Hello everyone, and welcome to the opening day of Champions Paris. We're coming to you live from Les Arènes here in Paris, France. To talk all things Valorant, I'm your host, Yingzu. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, let me introduce you to Ender and Doug. And I need to ask you the very important question of, what is your duo name? How do I address Ender and Doug?
This was not in the script.
I don't know if we've addressed this ever. Maybe just call us Ender and Doug.
Yeah.
How about like...
Well, I'd rather Doug and Ender, just to...
What about End of Esports?
No, I don't know if that's the one. I don't know if that's the one for us.
Okay, here's a challenge for you two. I'm going to need you to give me a good name, and for you guys as well at home, if you're watching, please, we'll take any suggestions.
It's Ugh. And that's my reaction when we come on the screen.
All right, okay.
I don't feel that way, just to go
I
ahead and put that out there. I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, okay, well, let the fans decide. How about that? You guys let me know throughout the tournament what we should call Ender and Doug. I want a good duo name. But before we get into today's matches, let's get a rundown of the format. And of course, a reminder for you guys to fill in those pick'ems. I want to see who's going to be able to come out victorious. And without further ado, take it away, Golden Boy.
It's Pick'em Pandemonium in Paris, baby! I hope you're ready to enter the ring. Lock in your Pick'ems online and watch the chaos unfold, because it's Valorant Champions 2025! 16 Titans, forged in the fires of VCT Americas, EMEA, Pacific, and CN, stand ready to defend your group stage pick'ems should you deem them worthy. These 16 Titans will be divided equally into 4 bone-chilling groups, but only 2 teams per group will survive the fire and advance to playoffs. The undefeated #1 seeds will be randomly drawn against the battle-hardened #2 seeds into a double elimination playoffs bracket, where they will once again await your judgment. Choose wildly, because in the VCT, nothing is guaranteed. After you've pounded all of those Pick'ems peasants to the ground, claim glory, a champion spray, exclusive gun buddies, and a prestigious title for perfect picks. And folks, you're in for a real treat. Something we've never done before. For the first time ever, Pick'ems will have factions. With factions, you can join the ranks of Valorant stars in your fight for max bragging rights in the community. Of these trailblazing faction leaders, the choice of who to give your allegiance to is yours. All the way from NA, it's Tens and Tarek. The boys from Brazil, Sati and TCK. El Rey de España, Mixwell. Say sayonara to the competition, it's Laz. And finally, the hometown heroes, it's Beaz and Lydia, Weeper, and Serator. But their faction can't rise to the top without you and your Pick'ems bracket. The stakes have never been higher. Don't just watch the action. Be a part of history. Make your picks and emerge victorious.
Thank you so much, GB. I am so pumped. Which faction are you guys with? Who did you join?
I heckin' love Tens.
You heckin' love Tens? Okay, good choice.
I too heckin' love Tens. But
come on, be original.
It's just because she asked you first. Shut up.
Yeah.
Can we, real quick, Golden Boy that's got to be a peak moment in his
Oh,
career.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I don't think I've ever seen him that happy in his life. I'm not going to lie to you.
I would agree, and I wish he also had we could
faction?
join his. Yeah,
I
we
would
could join
join.
his faction.
I would join.
Also would. I think I'm Team Laz right now. I think I've
That's
snuck
pretty
my
fair.
way through the Laz one.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Yeah, and speaking of pick'ems, of course, here is Group A. Make sure you guys fill in yours, and the stakes are pretty simple. Some teams will be up for elimination kind of early doors. We definitely don't want to see that. But if you win twice, however, you are in a fantastic spot to head to playoffs.
It's always win 2, you make it out,
Yeah.
lose 2, and you're done here. And our Group A teams were already going to have that first step of the journey done today.
And I do love, for as much as it might feel bad to have to see a team exit early, things like this is the pinnacle of our sport. This is where you're either going to be good enough to perform on the stage or you're not. And quite frankly, that's my favorite part of events like this. Either you're good enough or you're not. That's kind of all there is to it.
And we have traditionally seen some upsets at the group stage,
Yeah,
right? It's not all the big names that go through. But how does our team stack up against each other? Let's have a look at the VCT Global Power Rankings brought to you by AWS. Now, G2 and PaperX are right up there. I actually personally will put PaperX a little bit high. I think these are the obvious 2 favorites, but my bias is leaning a little bit more towards PaperX.
For sure. Of course, with PaperX coming off of the Masters 1 win where G2 disappointed a little bit. I think this, of course, is factoring in G2's complete dominance of the Americas scene. First place in every single stage we've had, only dropping that one series at the top. But those 2 teams at the top are our clear favorites.
Right, and I mean, PaperX as well. It's so funny to look at the gap between the 2. I think it was like 7 points.
Yeah.
Between the 2 in the global power rankings. PaperX has lost 2 series since the beginning of Toronto.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got 2 heavy hitters at the very top, and I think it sets the stage really well for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and shout out to NRG as well. You know, it's been a while since we've seen them at a global event, and the power rankings are putting them really high.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes off the back of their stage 2 run, besting Sentinels, getting all the way to second. So I think they're a team that you cannot necessarily overlook coming into this tournament.
Really helps that they upgraded their IGL. I think that's got to be, we'll talk about it when NRG plays, but it's time for our MasterCard fan poll. And we'd like to know which region you think is going to take home the Champions Trophy. Scan the QR code to cast your vote, and we will have the results a little bit later on. And while you're at it, make sure to use the hashtags Valorant Champions or VCT so we can feature you and your based opinions on the broadcast. You got any based opinions before I move on?
No based opinions.
That's a based opinion. I think having the self-awareness to know that
I'm cutting myself short here.
Yeah. Doug?
No opinions.
I mean, I've got a couple, but I got to save them for later in the show.
Give
It's
me
not
one.
time. It's
Just
not
give
time.
me one.
It's not time. But I have like a dark horse heavy hitter that everyone's going to laugh at, but I believe.
Oh, okay. I love that. I
believe.
can't wait. But if you guys cannot make your mind up with your pick'ems and you need some help, then you might want to look away because here's Mitch and Tom with Groupology.
Welcome to Groupology, where we're going to be going group by group and telling you who is going to be winning and making it out of the groups here in Valorant Champions. Tom, let's start out with Group A. PaperX and XLG.
Let's just get through this one nice and fast. I don't believe we have much time. Obviously, I think Sentinels have been in for a while. PaperX, they are the reigning champions. GX are immediately going to fall down because of that, but versus XLG, I think that there's a good opportunity for GX to maybe come back through, and then they'll probably end up playing Sentinels. I think PaperX go through on that one, and then Sentinels at the end. Nice and easy.
I mean, I think you're on a good track. The only difference is, I think we're looking at GX there. Come on, Ara, he hasn't been playing for a bit. These guys have been playing good Valorant. They've been focused on individuals for this last week. This prep is...
That's that Group A. Group A is done.
It's surprisingly normal.
Why was it calm? Usually Groupology is like hectic, like Bren and Sideshow about to come to blows.
Yeah.
But this was a good group.
It was
They didn't
good old,
troll.
honest,
it makes sense.
honest, good old-fashioned groupology.
Yeah, but you know when that happens is when the curse. That is like prime.
Yeah.
Teams are about to get cursed.
I will say, and maybe this is ominous, maybe this is indicative of a curse, I do agree with Tom on every pick.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
I don't think I've ever agreed with Tom on anything, but that's a...
This is a
Are you
first.
saying that PaperX isn't making it out of groups?
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
That
no,
sounds
no,
like what you just
no.
said.
No, PaperX are. PaperX, you're right. You're so right. I mean, they're winning the whole tournament. What do I know? We are, however, I'm playing on a different patch. We're playing on patch 11.05 in Paris. There's a couple of important changes. Doug, run me through those.
Yeah, I think the two big ones are for namely Sage and Chamber. As you see, the orb, the wall going up, and then the rest from further distance, particularly for the Sage, I think does play a little bit on how committed you need to be when you're trying to rest somebody, when you're trying to get the wall up to commit into a post-plant situation.
Sure.
I think for Chamber, the full range and not being restricted to space on the trademarks help a lot.
I think the Chamber one matters a whole lot more, and I think we'd already started seeing a lot of teams playing the Chamber, even during Stage 2 and especially into playoffs. Now with a map like Abyss re-entering in the pool as well, you're going to know there's quite a few teams that are going to want to play that Chamber on that map, make use of the ability to, free op and just dominate those long-range fights. The Sage changes to me, I don't think are going to spike the Agent's priority, but for teams like G2 or PRX that play it on a couple maps, it's certainly nice.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was wanting to go towards. This maybe not to the same degree that Chamber has seen a lot more prevalence in the pro meta. We have seen Sage kind of sprinkled in a little bit here, and maybe not the most optimal place to play her, but she does get some love on Corrode. She gets love on a couple of other maps, so I wouldn't be shocked to see a little uptick, to be honest.
I'm looking forward to seeing which team is going to put their whole, Abyssy into the map pool, or if it's going to be a bit more abysmal. Sorry, I'm just getting it all out of the way.
I didn't really
I'm getting
know.
it all out of the way on day one. But what we should talk about is that naturally some teams are going to benefit from
Sure.
Icebox leaving and Abyss coming in. I think there's some obvious ones here, but I really just want to shout out DRX because I think some people felt like they were one of the weaker teams to make it here, but with Abyss being in, I think their stonks has just gone through the roof because I firmly believe they were the best Abyss team in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think both DRX and Team Liquid have incredibly high win rates on this map. Team Liquid have never lost the map, so we're very excited to see what they can do on here and what on this wider map as well, what they can accomplish in terms of those long-range fights.
I think MIBR is another one that we've got to talk about. I think they have only one blemish on their record on Abyss all time. And so,
is this the cope you're trying to sell me? Abyss is what MIBR are going to have to win?
I will just say this. I think there are a lot of people who are sleeping on MIBR, and for good reason. I mean, I think they bombed out of Toronto. They were pretty poor in Stage 2, and they kind of
didn't make playoffs.
And they had a little uptick at the end of the regular season. But I do think Abyss is very strong for them. I think they historically have had success there, and I don't know why we would think otherwise here.
Counterpoint, Kong Kong with EDG broke the kill record in a best-of-5 on Abyss.
Honestly, the fact that we're getting EDG champs again and Abyss is here again. The script writers are getting a little bit lazy. But Doug, before this, I was thinking, am I a believer? And now you've really convinced me.
That was it. That's all it took.
Am I a believer? I am. Yes.
MIBR playing Abyss is all it took.
100%. 100%.
You didn't... Okay, you must not have watched enough of regular season Stage 2.
I did. I had to stay up till like 3 a.m. to watch that garbage.
Okay.
So, so don't you come for me. Don't you come for me. But what's also very exciting is we have some players making debuts, not just on the global stage, but also specifically champs as well. It's a long list of names. What stands out to you guys? Which one stands out to you guys?
Maybe this is a cop-out answer, but I think I love that there are this many players debuting on the champion stage for the very first time because of what it means for the future of the sport. I think having new names come in, having a lot of that injection of youth, you take, again, we were just talking about MIBR, a lot of these guys, all 4 of them debuted on the international stage for the first time in Toronto.
Yeah.
And now they're here for the very first time at Champs, and yes, you may argue it's a global, right? But the stage is a little bit bigger here, the lights are a little bit brighter, and that does make a difference.
And for me, coming from Americas, I'm so excited to see Mata
You're
in
from
particular.
Americas? No
Yeah, I know, I did EMEA a few
way.
years ago. You remember me from that, but no.
Yeah.
No, but Mata has the all-time record in Americas for number of aces.
Yeah, 10,
And in
right?
his rookie year,
Yeah.
yes. And is dominant. I think the next closest is like 6 or 7. It's like not even remotely close, and he's just done it in 1 year. Like, now seeing him on the big stage, I'm so excited.
Are you are you allowed to call him Adam? Are you like that? You guys are...
I don't think they know each other like
Oh.
that.
No.
I don't think he knows him.
Although...
Did you know that Mata is Adam backwards? That's my favorite on the Americas broadcast. I love that toast. It was so good.
It was a good one.
But you're
and
not.
you know what? There were too many of us that did not know that. And learned from that graphic that we ran, yeah.
Okay, but I'm glad we all know that.
The
But did you know, Doug, that PaperX won Toronto, which means they're
I did know that.
They could be doing a back-to-back coming into this.
Whoa.
Yeah, which would be wild. And again, to do it at Champs, to do it on the biggest event of the year, I think would mean so much more. And the truth is, they come into this tournament, as we mentioned earlier on, as heavy favorites. There are people who expect them to be competing for that trophy at the very end of this event, and so there's a lot to be excited about for the squad.
Yeah, I mean, they dropped a series in Stage 2 to
pretty
Zeta
dang good.
Division. Don't know what happened there, but we move on, and it's fine.
It happens. It happens to the best
and
of
it
us.
certainly does, but this team came in to Toronto is a completely different story to this Champions, where they were coming in as the bottom seed from Pacific. No one really had it. Okay, not no one. There was one person who had faith in them. Yitsu right here. But they went on this crazy run to end up dominating at the end of the tournament. Now they're coming in as the #1 seed, so it is a different level of pressure on them, of expectations for this team to now go the distance and to lift that Champions Trophy.
Yeah, and while I prefer to stay within 2025 when it comes to conversations like this, but I do think it's unique for Paper X because they have been around for as long as they have, and because they have lost internationally, and so they've been there. They know what it's like to lose. It's not like they're just riding this high, much like we saw EG a couple of years ago, where they were able to kind of take off and go. They have been in this spot. They know what it's like to lose here, and I think that makes a massive difference when you're talking about the gauntlet of this event.
I will say that on the other side, this is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've always been a, paper girl, but this is probably the first event that they've come in as true favorites. Every event is sort of like, there's a Genji, there's a DRX, there's a, even in their region, they've never been considered as the ones that should win. Does that change the pressure and expectations on them that this is the event that they should win?
I honestly feel like it doesn't, because of how PaperX just operate as a team. Like, I feel like they're a team because you think about their history, right? For so long, people are like, oh, they're just the team that like runs at you, and they play kind of like messy Valorant, sloppy Valorant. Like, I think they've been discounted so much that the opinion of outsiders does not matter to them anymore. They're always going to play their brand of game, and even if they are coming in with higher outside expectations, what matters to them is their own expectations, and that's what they're coming into this expecting to win it all.
And I do think when you're talking about this outside noise and influence and kind of changing mentality, I look at the coach to be the one to keep him on the straight and narrow. And I do trust Alex to be the guy to do that. But there is something to be said about having the target on your back as opposed to being the one hunting. And for the very first time, Yinsu, I'm inclined to agree with you. They're the ones with the targets on their backs. They're the ones that people are coming for.
I mean, you said there's something to be said. Would you say there's said to be something as well on the other side?
I would not, but that's a great segue.
Yeah. That's something. Of course, the MVP, and it's almost kind of funny. It's really, really hard to win MVP on PaperX. There's always like 4 other guys that's ahead of you. But again, definitively for the first time going to a global event, something looks like the best.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely smashed in the grand final in Pacific. I think he played the Euro on every single map, was completely dominating round after round. I feel like he is such a skilled player at finding those windows, right, where he can take the more aggressive angle, at finding those pockets he can play inside of, and there was just not a team in Pacific that could deal with him.
Yeah, and I think watching something develop into the player has been so much fun. Do you guys remember his international debut? There were a lot of people who were like, something's going to be sick, he's going to be insane, he's going to light the world on fire, and he was serviceable. But for him to grow the way that he has and to now perform on this stage and to be probably the star of the event before things kick off is just such a drastic difference. He has grown into this role perfectly.
As you can see here, he's now the global KD leader.
What's Oxy doing in there? Sorry.
No,
Oxy,
you didn't watch enough Oxy. Oxy's getting so many kills.
I'm actually hella kidding. But
Get him up here.
Shout out to Rooksik for being #2 on that graphic, but he's definitely a heavy hitter. Also, I think the confidence matters a lot for this team, right? When they're confident, it's just doesn't even matter who they're playing against. It's impossible. And what's going to be more of a confidence boost than coming into this event as the MVP? Did you see the gold keyboard that he won? It was absolutely
for the MVP.
Yeah, that is insane. I almost
is he playing with it?
I hope he. I mean, what a flex! Can you imagine looking over at the guy opposite you on the stage and he's got a gold keyboard?
You know what would go great with that gold keyboard?
An MVP bracelet.
A little bracelet. Yeah.
You're so fashion forward. Look at you.
I will say though, Forsaken was talking about in the press conference how he's only worn his bracelet once. He did not bring it to Paris. It's just at home, locked away in a safe because they don't want to bring it. And Kong Kong's exactly the same.
Yeah,
he did not bring his bracelet.
But honestly, yes, valuable. You don't want anything to happen to it. That's in the past. That is an
Bring us
entirely
to
different
Earth, Doug.
tournament. It's an entirely different year, and this is the stage that they're playing on now. And so honestly, like from a competitive perspective and a mindset, I love that. That was done long ago. This is a new stage. This is a new tournament, and you still have something to prove here.
I love that because maybe a player who could be the present and future of Valorant, Patman, is joined by Mika Fabs. Let's see what he had to say.
Mika Fabs here, and I am with Patman. Patman, I will English you first, okay? I want to ask you, you started out this year as a rookie, and now you are a Masters champion, and your team is here at Valorant Champions Paris, expected to be one of the teams to win it all. How are you keeping up? How are you coping? Sumusobra ba? Nakaka-overwhelm ba?
To be honest, we're not pressuring ourselves. We're happy to be here among like almost 40 plus teams in the world, and we're like here like top 16 teams. So it's just really a big achievement for us to be here, and for us to keep it like how to be consistent is like just have fun still and don't pressure ourselves, of course.
Eager to see that fun on stage. Good luck.
I hope he gets to enjoy this stage. Of course, it's going to be his first time at Champs. Of course, you know, he was tweeting about how excited that Taylor Swift is dropping an album while he's in Paris. Hopefully, that's a good omen. That's going to push him forward. But they do have to get past an opponent here first today on their debut here, which of course is going to be XLG. For them, though, the pressure is crazy because as you guys can see on this graphic, and of course I want you to focus on the championship points because the Ascension winners, DRG and XLG, they're going to be battling to see who's going to remain in VCT for next year. Whoever makes it the furthest in this tournament in Paris will get to keep their spot, and the other team will have to fight through Ascension. In the event that both teams get knocked out at the exact same stage because of the championship points, XLG will get to remain. And we've never had this situation before. This is entirely new for us.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that one of these teams is going to have to fight for it. But for XLG, because of how well they did back in stage one, that's why they have the advantage. Keep in mind, this team, well, they're coming in as the 4th seed to this tournament. They dominated China in stage one, dropped one series on, went on that huge run, had higher expectations going into Toronto, and then lost to 2 American teams back-to-back, didn't win a map, bombed out, and since then, it has not been that same story for the squad.
And I think that kind of pressure, that's something that slips through the cracks. That's something that shows up on the stage, and that's a lot. That's a lot to wrestle through. And then you think about each of their respective first-round matchups, you're talking about a night and day difference. This is a tough thing you have to climb through.
I will say the caveat is they did play with a sub last time they were at a global event. This time around, they're actually coming in with the guy that they've been playing with during the regular season.
Exactly. And I also think it's important to say that while they're coming in as the 4th seed, it's not like they were scraping by on championship points. They lost to DRG and EDG, 2 teams above them. Where is that man?
Noman. It's actually they're playing with Noman.
There's no man.
There is no man.
Oh, there's the man.
I will say though, I want to just glaze Noman for a second. I freaking love him. I'm so happy that he's getting his shot in tier 1. And for people that are really upset about Wolves not making it, wanting to see Sufat BB, he brings really similar vibes. He is that guy that he's always got a smile on his face. He loves standing up. He loves giving it. And so a lot of the times when his teammates are clutching and doing crazy things and they are a little bit more shy, they don't want to trash talk, Noman will stand up and do it for them. He does this when he's like bottom fragging. I love it so much, and I think he will 100% make the most out of this stage here in Paris.
You're completely selling me on him because, like, you tell me all that. I now love him outside of the game and outside of what he's doing in the server, but I also think he's just one of the most versatile players inside the server. He plays every single agent under the sun. He'll play a Raze, he'll play a Chamber, he'll play all the other Sentis. He's got the odd Sky he'll bust out on Bind. Like, no one can really hit every single agent in the game like he can.
Yeah, his agent pool is insane. I think a lot of the intangibles into that you were just talking about are also hard to measure. I mean, I guess that's why they're called intangibles, but those are things that make a difference on a global run. And so I think if there is somebody who is kind of going to get them over this bump, if there is an X factor, if you will, that might give them a shot here against the heavyweights of Paper X, it would be this cat getting out of his seat.
You need a hee-hee-ha-ha vibes, man. You just do. And I think Noman will be that guy.
That's what he's bringing?
Yeah.
I love it.
He's not bringing any man, but he's bringing the vibe.
Right, okay.
But we do have to talk about, I think, probably the best player on the team. And for me, maybe even the best player in VCT CN behind YZ right now, which is Happy Way. He's so good.
Happy was insane.
Yeah, but even when XLG won that good, like you said on the global stage, he was good.
Yeah, he was still
Yeah.
like the player going positive in a couple of those games. And I think that Happyweight for me, because he's usually playing on the defense side in particular, I think is where he can take over. He's usually playing on the weak side of the map. He'll have maybe one other guy next to him, and he'll take the slightest of pixel angles. But he is so quick on his reaction speed that he's still finding kills. He's almost never going to go down just for free on that side of the map. He is so hard to dislodge on the sides of the map that he's anchoring.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is showing the team's trust in him and the fact that they continue to put him in positions like that where he is often without resources, where he is often without help, and he's asked to hold down a site, hold down a side of the map, essentially by himself, or maybe with a little bit of support. And so for Happyway to be able to continually deliver in those hard positions is another part that XLG will have to rely on if they want to best Paper X today.
They might just have to, I think Paper X, they don't need this, but they might have to see Ned this play a little bit, like find Happyway and be like, oh, let's just run to the other side, just to, give them the best chance. But then again, I don't even think Paper X need any advice from me specifically.
No,
to have
I don't
a
think
good
they're
chance
listening right now.
to win a game.
I mean, they don't even listen to their coach, you know? They're just gonna...
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely Happyway a massive win condition. Raga, however, we're going to talk about him in a second because for now, he spoke to Mika Fabs a little bit earlier.
Hey guys, Mika Fabs here, and I'm here with Raga of XLG. Now, Raga, as the duelist on the XLG squad, and you are now going head-to-head with a team that is notorious for playing like 5 duelists, how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling great because I can play versus them on the one stage. So I want to show I'm not like someone else and I can beat them maybe.
Should be exciting. Good luck.
When it comes to the duelist, though, the other players that play his role, it is a really tough competition. I know Ender last time he spoke to you about how he didn't think he was the best. In fact,
he's my
the
humble
opposite.
king. Yeah, I was like, I asked him in Toronto, like, where do you see yourself stacking up with the other duelists in the tournament? And he was like, last. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I have to prove myself, like he has to do that first. And I think Toronto for him was a bit of a mess, and he's going to be coming in now with a lot more to prove himself personally.
I do think even the approach that he had in that conversation was notably different to the one he had with you, where he was like, yeah, I am thankful for the opportunity to play on the stage and to show them that I'm not just another guy.
Yeah.
And I do think
I'm now the second one. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, maybe. And it's tough because this might be the most lopsided opening match that we will have, and so
I mean, Masters winners were the 4 seed,
right?
You know?
Right. Like there is a massive gap between these two teams, but they do have a little bit of like, we want to show them that we belong.
It's champs. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And for now, it's time to reveal the results of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you which region was going to take home the Champions Paris Trophy, and the results are in. 63% of you said that Pacific will win champs. Honestly, I was one of the 63%.
I mean, that checks out.
Then we've got Americas with 20, EMEA with 14, and CN with 3. Now, the last time y'all underestimated CN, who won champs 2024 again?
I don't remember.
Who was it?
I don't know. Do
Who
you
was
recall?
it?
I don't
yeah,
recall.
that's what I thought. So 3% I think is really low.
You're saying that, and you voted for Pacific, which makes sense because they won kickoff
Mark
stage.
Phillips
Masters
instigating from the other side of the desk. What is this?
Crazy.
But let's take a look at the predictions.
Why didn't you predict XLG, Insu?
Because I was looking at the global power ranking powered by AWS, and I was like, oh, this is telling me Paper X has a better chance.
Yeah, to clarify, in the top left next to Achilleos, our prediction king, GPR global power ranking, this will basically just put whoever is higher in that global power ranking will predict them through. So because Paper X is rated higher than XLG, they're chosen, and Sentinels over Giant X also going to get locked in there. So we also get a battle against the power ranking.
Are you surprised that your fellow America's caster Sideshow decided to betray Sen?
He's not from Americas anymore. Yeah, no.
Have you heard him talk?
What happened?
Yeah.
No, I've never actually heard him talk. Now you mentioned it.
Predicting against Sentinels
never
is
listened to him.
naughty.
I just mute him normally. But is it really that skewed, you think? Because the first match, as you said, Paper X XLG pretty Paper X favor, but is Sen the overwhelming favorite for the second one?
I don't think to the same degree. No, I think that match is going to be a lot closer. And I think, again, like Christy was saying, we're talking about Masters 2 winners versus a number 4 seed out of China. That, it just feels like a massive gap. But between those two teams in the second match, I think it will be a lot more competitive.
Third seed is a fluke from Sentinels. They're going to come in hot.
Oh,
I'm a believer.
Oh, wait, you mean like they should have been higher seed?
Yeah.
When you say fluke, it makes it sound like they should have been lower.
No.
Yeah.
But
I would never.
I think people agree with that. I think it's just that maybe the gap isn't as big.
We will find out later because that's the second game. Our teams have fought tooth and nail to make it all the way to champions. And for Paper X, XLG, GX, and Sentinels, today is where their run will begin. What happens here could make or break their chances for a title. So please join me and kick off day 1 of Champ Paris.
Pourquoi brûlons-nous? Pour l'amour.
At the beginning, I was just playing in the shadows. I had a tough time with my career. I was going to retire.
I was already planning to go to the real life, working as a lawyer. Then I found Valorant, and everything changed.
Through all the dark times, you just keep chasing this indescribable feeling. It's like a love story that I started and was eager to continue.
Valorant reminded me of why I was chasing my dream. I think that's the beauty of the game.
I've loved and I've lost more times than I can count. Defeat after defeat. Loss after loss. But now, it's our time.
Parfois, on tue par amour.
Pain. The ache of standing inches from victory. The knife twist of nearly.
The angel of death has descended on heretics.
We're still under the shadow of last year. And it only takes one shape. Revenge.
On parle peu, on fait les choses. On s'active, augmente la dose. Assez de voir ma vie en pause. J'ai fait une prière, fait un toast. Levé le verre, j'ai touché le ciel. Mon verre déborde à la nôtre.
L'amour. Il a bâti des royaumes, puis les a réduits à néant. La passion brûle comme le feu, sans discernement, sans pitié.
2024, my world champion brothers left me. I had nothing left. I felt empty. I didn't know where I belonged anymore. G2 was waiting for me at the doors. And now that I'm back, I'm ready to show who the real world champ was.
Le temps passe, j'encaisse les fonds pour les minimis. Je donne de l'inspi pour many men. Donc on continue le taf, on élimine. Ça part un grand jeu, un coup de fil, je les minimise. On vise et on fait des mises. Je travaille comme deux, toujours en eau, je rentabilise. Je pèse, je me stabilise. Le temps passe, le temps passe.
Chaque pas que nous faisons,
Le temps passe, le temps passe.
chaque instant que nous portons,
Le temps passe, j'encaisse. Le temps passe.
charge notre balle la plus meurtrière. Mais ces échos ne résonnent pas que dans les ruines. L'amour s'épanouit dans les recommencements.
Yeah, I'd love to win a trophy with you.
Why is that?
Because we're old. And normally, like, it's the youngsters that, like, dominate the game. But it's nice to see that you've proven that you've still got it. We've had players come and go, and it's been tough for those players that have gone to get back to the top.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. But
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy we could start our journey again. You're a fun teammate.
Thank you, man.
Probably one of my most fun teammates, but don't be telling the other boys that, because Alfie will be getting jealous.
Il fait d'étrangers des frères.
여기 왔네.
사실 이전의 챔피언스들이랑 좀 다른 느낌이긴 해. 진짜 힘겹게 왔지. 처음에 챔스 진출했을 때는 솔직히 내가 여기에 있을 정도인가라는 생각이 들었어. 널 보면은 내 옛날 생각이 나. 너가 첫 챔피언스기도 하고 너한테 부담이 될 수 있겠지만 너가 DRX 미래거든.
Il unit une seule braise en une flamme partagée. Un rêve partagé.
你哥对你自豪吗？
那肯定啊。他现在逢人都会说他弟弟是个世界冠军，他会很开心。
我觉得这东西如果今天能赢下来的话，都不是我们末潮了。我觉得就是
有潜力了是吧？
不是，我是觉得哥几个就要算就算大的。
Quand ce lien prend racine, il défie l'impossible.
Les 16 meilleures équipes du monde se sont réunies ici à Paris. Le désir brûlant d'être les meilleurs.
Il se propage. Il endure.
Puisque l'amour de Valorant nous rassemble tous.
Il se bat.
To be the best, you have to sacrifice everything you have. You can never think about going back.
I've done it.
Llaman peligrosa, j'ai bien compris que pleurer ne m'apporterait rien. Écoute, tiens. Si on dit à mes voix, ne m'attendez pas. Je le fais taire et puis je reviens. Tu finiras en taule si t'es pas mort avant. Une me vie dans un coffre, ce temps reviendra. La belle gaming. C'est beau t'y réfléchir à deux fois dorénavant. Dis-moi comment je vais te rattraper, je suis en pleine forme. Garde tes belles phrases, tout ton procès.
XLG wanted an opportunity to prove themselves on the global stage. Who better than Paper X to answer to that challenge? Of course, the winners of our last and most recent Masters. The map vetoes are going to be very interesting as we head to the first match of Champs Paris and surely this is Paper X's to lose.
Of course, I mean, coming off the back of that Masters Toronto win, every single team coming into this tournament has been looking at Paper X, has been looking at figuring out a way to take them down, and now we've got those vetoes coming in.
Hold on, Doug. It's XLG that choose to go to bind.
Yeah, I think they are just really confident in the waylay that they've been running, that they introduced last time against an undefeated Paper X on bind. I'm inclined to agree with you. Also, real quick, looking further down the road, Sunset means Sage, means buffs as well.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I do want to focus in on this bind for just a minute because it is very interesting. XLG had not played bind at all in stage 2 up until the playoffs against DRG. It was a map they picked, debuted. They're playing this funky comp like you mentioned with the waylay in it for Rarga, and it was the map they won against DRG. So it's certainly a choice to start things off here, but they're trying to sort of come in with something a little bit different against PRX.
And I think a lot of it is bringing good against good. They're obviously confident in it. They're not shying away from, again, like you mentioned, Christy, all of Paper X's maps are going to be good, right? They're one of the best teams in the world. They dominate their region domestically, but also, you know you're going into the Lion's Den. You know you're going into an undefeated map for Paper X, and you think this is your most confident hit. They have to deliver here.
I am also curious for XLG because they banned the Lotus, a map that Paper X have actually lost on in stage 2. And this is a map where they play a crazy triple Sentinel composition. And I'm wondering if they're just done with Lotus in its entirety or if it's specifically they don't want to run that more passive setup up against the behemoths that are Paper X.
I also love how ballsy this bind pick is because
that's what I'm saying.
If we talk about preparations, right? I know Mini, was helping out with Paper X as well. If you want to prepare for a map veto like this, there is no way in hell you thought XLG were going to pick bind. There is zero chance.
No chance. And even if you did, you only have one map of tape to go off of, and that was a month ago.
I mean, I think that sometimes that is how you beat the Titans like Paper X. You have to take a risk. You have to be ballsy in situations like this. But, Ender, put your coach's hat on for a second. How?
It's on. I've donned it.
How on earth, now they picked it, how do they beat Paper X on bind?
That's a great question.
How do they do it?
Ultimately, I think that I want to see how good they can be on the defensive side of things up against Paper X. I think bind is a map that on defense often comes down to tandem play. 2 players on a site, especially towards B, working hand in hand with one another. And you have to be locked in as a duo to hold against a team that is going to be so explosive.
I do think as Agent Select is coming up here in just a moment.
Yes, live Agent Select, of course. So Paper X is still hovering. No, everybody's locked in. Nothing too surprising except for the fact that we spoke about the waylay that whole time and they're just gonna bin it instantly.
I don't know if I like that or hate it, to be honest. I am not a big waylay believer, to be very candid with you guys. I don't necessarily love the pick, so I love that they've moved away from it, independent of itself, right? But the problem is you're going against one of the best teams in the world. This is not a surprising different comp. This is drilled and true.
I'm going to be honest, though. I don't care. I think Raze is a better agent, and I do really like being able to combo the Gecko and the Sky. I think Gecko being able to put down Wingman to plant and have 5 guns out to fight Paper X on site. Paper X, if you watched Sideshow's video, you know they're a team that flood into site, want to fight you heavily against that, and I think having the benefit of not having to force someone to be a plant bot is going to be nice.
Yeah, it just surprises me for me because Raga, you don't normally associate with him with playing a lot of Raze. It's everything else, other than that. But that is it. We have everything locked in, map ready to go, agents ready to go. So it's time to introduce our casters. Show some love for Mitchman and Tombiz.
Thank you very much, Yinsu. Valorant champions live from Paris. And what a game to kick us off, Tom. Paper X versus XLG. It's fair to say there are some expectations when it comes to this matchup.
Yeah, it turns out when you have a team that won the last international event facing off against a team who's never won a map at an international event, it puts it down to a fairly one-sided looking affair. But I do think XLG coming into this, there can be quite an awkward team to play against. Now, obviously, it's at times a little bit sad to maybe not see the waylay. That was what made them a little bit different. But I like the Raze. I think it's a better choice overall on this map. And well, coming into their map choice, they need to prove why they've taken us to bind in the first place.
And speaking about something to prove, I think that Rarga, we heard it in the interview, he wants to show that he is able to battle out with the best, able to take down Paper X, and he is happy to just play on a stage against them. But I think he wants a little bit more than that, show that he can dominate them. For Paper X, expectations are clear, as we said. This should be a series that they are winning. We'll see whether XLG can put a bump in the road early as doors be long. There is a stack up of defenders ready and waiting for this fight, but Nomad and Rarka, they take it into the lead for XLG. A surprise swing from Divide, though. They're not expecting 4 players there. Why would you? And now it's down to a 2v2.
Yeah, clearly having a good read initially, but I feel like considering that stack up, XOG have come out of it all right. A little bit wary of the positioning of the player and want to make sure they can get that spike back without too much of a problem. Now, there's been some aggression out from Devi as well towards that A site, just to make sure that they haven't rotated in, and Happyway now winning the battle, puts it down to just Devi, and a good chance for an afterplant.
Yeah, he's taking the TP as well, so they've got the info before the plant goes down, can reposition, go for backside, and they're nice and safe, tucked away. The drop down will be heard when Devi eventually goes for it, dropping the wall, and that's the round gone with it. XLG start this out with a win.
Yeah, a solid start from that. As said, it was mentioned by Ender just moments ago, the way that they have this sort of aggressive style on the PaperX side that tries to disrupt you from getting the plant to begin with. So that early fight towards B-Long look to do just that. But the fact is XLG managed to sort of hold on to their position. And then even find those isolated battles to bring themselves back in. An early pistol and rounds like that, they're going to be worth their weight in gold because, as we said, in terms of who's favorites here, PaperX are miles ahead.
Yeah, when those rifles come out, but for now, PaperX are left with a Sheriff and a Ghost. An attempt to go for that TP. Through being long to catch players in shower, but no one's there. Look how patient and passive XLG are being. Now they have a reason to play like this. They've only got 1 pistol brought into this, and a Marshall, I suppose, that you can live or lose it, but 3 rifles in play. They can't afford to lose too many, and already seeing that PaperX are willing to do this like 4-man early hold on B long, you have to be wary of another trap play, and that could do damage even in a round like this.
I like the fact that they are taking the time with their initiators to sort of scope out some potential aggressive spots, but with both pieces of that wingman utility already down, I think PaperX can now make the read like, okay, no one's come to retrieve that. We should start pressuring this side of the map, and the timing, it's not going to work out. Luckily, Coconut looks back at the last second. Well, I was going to say he gets an upgrade, he does not.
Now, this is getting a little dangerous. 1 player down, another low. Jing's able to escape as well. You're still in this 3v4.
They're going back, though.
Happyway's got a lot of control. Expectation of this round is that XLG will be the ones taking it. My question is how much damage can be done, because Nomad already looking like an easy pickup if they can get that one-on-one. But first, they've got to get past Happyway, and oh, what a shot! No danger from Forsaken anymore.
Yeah, luckily, versus the pistol, you'll sometimes get that second bite of the cherry. Patman obviously on the wrong side of the map, but it may come down to PaperX just wanting to make sure they don't give too many orbs over to the other side. You can see Nomad already getting fairly close to having his ultimate if a kill or 2 extra goes his way, and I don't think with how they play, you don't want Seekers online. As they're going to get in your face, they're going to take map control. Seekers ruins that completely, so I think it will just be death to the spike, and that will mean that those 4 guns are kept through into the next round, although the Marshall might be removed anyway.
Patman is trying to secure them, but that TP is going to be taken, and they will be far, far away.
Does he go in?
He's going through, and there's one! A little more would have been beautiful. Yeah, it's only going to be the Marshall removed in the end. XLG, a comfortable 2-0 start.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think ultimately, if you'd lost the rifle, this was the timing. I was so ridiculously close to potentially just having the full force of PaperX swinging in onto them. Of course, for either side, like we've seen some strong results. Obviously, for PaperX, I think it's over the last few months, they're 5-0 on this map. So it is a very bold call to pick into this as a choice. Although a dominant victory for XOG versus DRG maybe is the reason. They were stellar on their defensive side, but then again, we didn't get to see much of the attack.
Now, round 3, few upgrades over on XLG. They brought another rifle through. They've got a Bucky.
I was about to say, is the Bucky the upgrade?
And you know, you see, no, the other rifle, the 4th rifle is, to be clear, the Bucky is an interesting choice. On defense, you can see there's so many areas that you can use shotguns in, whether it be Lamps or Hookah. We've seen rounds won because of Judges, Buckies, or even Shorties.
Yeah.
But on attack, it's a little bit harder to find
yeah.
space to use that.
Well, yeah, he's currently using the Sheriff as a primary weapon and the Bucky as the backup. Maybe if they can get into some sort of post plant where he has his utility available, but they're just looking to put a little bit of pressure back towards long. Prowler will be used by Patman, so they will have a reasonable idea. Again, it seems like XLG's planning for the most of this is to try and sell a ruse on either side, and it's worked. They've kept 3 players over on A. They put smokes in on that side of the map. It's whether or not the rest of the team now rotate in towards A, and whether or not Paperex get back in time. They were halfway to the B side.
Of course, after losing all that B-long control and a player, now the rotates come back through, players flood the site, and Paperex are here on time. They're ready for the battle, but the smokes are blocking them out as the flank goes down. Undeniable. Something, though, has managed to find 2. That should be mostly, if not all, through the smokes. Another from Jing, but they're holding on. They still have a chance on XLG. 2 players sitting inside a bathroom. The flash blinds the first. Happy Way good on the swing, but they know exactly where No Man is. With no element of surprise, close as this may have been. 8 HP with regen shields on Jing. The Paperex are still going to find the round. Pretty costly, though, all in all.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea. Like, it's almost sold as a double fake. Like, you get that early kill after putting all your smokes in. It's an attempted ruse, and then you teleport back at the last second. I think the only actual problem, or the real spanner in the works, was Forsaken putting the Molotov. It means that the only space you're fighting from is the showers. Like, there's no other angle, even though you could see that Paperex were diligent in checking those positions. I think they also had a snakebite late into the round. I do wonder if maybe that could have gone through a little bit sooner, but nonetheless, there's still going to be another purchase coming in for XLG. That was a bonus of sorts. And now there are some weaknesses on the side of Paperex. A stinger in play.
That's the downside of losing so many players. Monsters on the loose right away. Something able to TP away, but lots of space taken. That gets them very early on XLG in towards the lamps. They haven't got control of it, but back through to take that space. They'll look for this deep fight alongside his teammate Divide. The flash popped. Here close though. He's able to already find the first. Rarga from further back cleans up more, and XLG, they're looking phenomenal. With rifles in their hand, barely a scratch, and indeed a flawless round for XLG, the underdogs, but it doesn't look like it.
No, that was really, really clean from them. I think they almost lose Raga on the way in initially, but other than that, just successful in taking those fights together, not allowing the sort of pressure of those sort of fight backs in. And they were very ready for any of that aggression. It is surprising that there wasn't even a trade in the mix of it, like Tomatoes from his teammate, but ultimately managed to get the job done, and a huge early breakback, considering 2 players were only surviving in the last from his incredibly poor for Paperex going into the next one.
That's about as bad of a start as you could expect. And you think about pressure in this scenario. On one side of the stage for XLG, there's almost none. Losing to Paperex, no one's going to question that. But on the other side, Paperex, this is a game that run here. If you're going to continue to defend that title, well, this one, you'd almost want it to look clean. But XLG, they're pulling out all the stops, and they've got a timeout from X. This pressure 5. This is a big blow on the other side, but we know Paperex. They're a squad that's capable of bouncing back. You certainly can. They've got a one, like you said, the credits are going to be in tatters. Although also knowing Paperex, those are the kind of rounds they win.
Yeah, that's always the issue. I like the fact that we are seeing the early check-in from Alex. I think if there's any coach in the world that I have faith that he can spot the bad tendencies of its team, it is that man. I think there was a thing earlier, how early will he slam the desk? I don't know if we caught one within round 4, but it might have been the case just because of how clean that was. For now, though, after that early check-in, and now looking at XLG, you want to get these early starts. As said, the last time out when they played in Toronto, they didn't manage a map. In fact, they weren't particularly close. The best scoreline they had was a 13-8 defeat to G2. But this is a new tournament with a different player within the roster. No Man, probably one of the few players that has played within the Chinese league and also played Northeast in EMEA. I don't think there's going to be too many of those.
Oh, the blind was so well timed. Forsaken was about to throw a spanner in the works up close with the Bucky. A taste of the same medicine XLG tried to feed their opponents just a few rounds ago. But the blind stopped any of that impact from coming through. XLG still sitting on full health, full shields on all players. Spike left back towards the spawn. This early posturing from the team is just about denying that control from PaperX, finding the points of the map where they like to play aggressive, which I think by this point it's very clear to see it's B long. And then late on, making the decision on where they go.
But normally they have a look. That's the difference. Every other round they've had one player probing the other side of the map. Now, a TP back to the other side would be so risky when you don't have any space. So instead they are walking into the stacked up side. That's where Jing is waiting. Showstopper popped as well. And this is exactly what you were talking about. Just moments of madness coming in. No man, 10 seconds to try and save the day, and he had a chance, but Jing is just too quick. A MasterCard thrifty, and well, blink, and PaperX are back in the game.
Yeah, welcome to playing against PaperX. This is really what it's all about. A 4-1 lead looking likely for XLG, and it has shut down the bookie. One of the heavier investments they had, it doesn't find much. It's taken out of play, and the pistols, alongside the showstopper, are what gets it done in the end. For PaperX, well, that is certainly one way to correct the flow of the game, but XLG, even having a flawless round in the mix of rounds they won, they're in a decent position to still buy up into this one. They've got credits to their back, and the showstopper that made all the difference for Jing is now online for Rarga.
It's definitely a bit of a worrying sign. As I said, what they were doing in the, especially in their bonus round, they did very well to sort of like keep space on both sides of the map. And I think you see the problem if they don't. Like, they didn't have that information. They went into the sight blind, and that's where some of those superstars can thrive. But now at least, they are still in the lead. Claiming those orbs once again. Coconut is getting ever closer to having his thrash for, I believe, the second time already in this map.
Round 6, a minute left on the clock. It's XLG's time to decide where they go. Big TP comes through. Still players around here in a deep push that's already come through from Forsaken. He's looking the wrong way. Gets flanked on, but not before he can take down Happy Way. Giving him a chance still as they push forward the showstopper. Desperately searching for Jing, and it's found him. A connection that puts the advantage in their favor for just a moment. No man pulls it back, and a 2 versus 3 with the ult pop by something. He's finding these players, at least one spotted already. I don't know that he saw the Bath fade away, but he has given Devi the information. Devi knows there's a player around one of these corners, and they'll fight this together, but Rarga goes back. And XLG just need to buy time.
Got plenty of positions that need to be cleared. Devi needs to win this fight. They're going to have a chance. Rarga instant on the trigger. I think that's the moment that something realizes, okay, 3 players to find. I managed to get the first, but anything more than that, and my operator is at risk. So he's going to have to fade out of the round. Another victory for XLG, and honestly, after losing a round like they just did, a very good recovery.
Well, that's it. A wise man once said, it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep on going. And for XLG, that previous round, that was a lights out connection to the jaw, but they managed to bounce back here and now, and it's even with some of these extra plays from PaperX, sneaking a player straight down through mid, man behind enemy lines, and still they deal with him every step of the way, catching that flank as well early, and Rarga showing that he's got the brawn to deal with Devi early on.
Well, what I was going to say, that is still a bit worrying for me, that late TP. Because I don't mind the Sky Flash that cleared things out, but if Forsaken is looking the other way, that round could have gone very differently. So I think it's something to keep an eye on. XOG are gambling a little bit with some of their rotations, and this round, well, it's much more direct.
They're already taking so much space. Lamps pushed back by the nade, but they're going to stand on that corner, ready for the fight. Double swing back in, and it's Jing to take 2. XLG down by 2 men. Spike lost as well. They have got a big fight on their hands, and the Prowler actually didn't re-clear anything that isn't being held already. The flash going through. There's no one following it up. They're burning utility here on XLG. They need to start winning fights and start winning them soon. There's 3 players on this spike. How can they possibly get it back? Fighting through those numbers, and one of the players up close has a judge in hand. This looks like a death sentence if they even try it, but they've got to.
Yeah, they were dreaming of having an ultimate or 2 in this scenario, and well, Happyway does have the Viper's Pit. Could try and put it into Lamps. It would be a very bold strategy, but it would at least lower the HP of some of the others.
Nice
Molotov instead will force Forsaken forward, and he's been cleared, and there goes the Viper's Pit. They just want to try and cover these players off, and then they put the Molotov in front, so nobody could be in position. Jing, though, once again, has managed to catch another, and they have spotted that this is not being planted. They know it's going back the other way. This puts something in a position where he could catch them.
Yeah, already on the angle. It's a clean shot from something. Last man spotted. 12 seconds on the clock. A plant at this point seems impossible. Indeed, it will be with so many players here. Happyway has no choice but to save this weapon, and PaperX will be taking a third. The gap is closing in on XLG.
It's one where I just think a lot of it comes down to Jing. Like those first opening kills, like sure there was a player with a judge in position, but it's Jing that ends up landing both of those shots. I think he also then gets the next kill that they find as well in the mix of all the madness. Yeah, that was it. It was No Man sort of running back out, and then even just Devi having that little bit of extra information. I don't mind the adaptation though. As I said, the molly into the Viper's Pit, it's not a bad idea. It's just the fact that something was still waiting on the other side. Like PaperX had that contingency plan.
Yeah, I think a walkthrough from Devi as well got them early information. Wrapping around that pit, it could have ended there. Deep play from Jing. Reveal is great, and he'll get two from it. It didn't see anyone else, but he knows there's corners to hide in. Waiting for his moment in the smoke as another two push down. Already having cleared outside of Hookah, and now it's time to make that big swing. In goes Jing, in goes Forsaken, and out goes XLG. Their lead no longer in play. It's a 4-4 scoreline between PaperX and XLG. An early fight from the attackers, but now they're starting to cool down.
Hasn't yet shattered the economy. That's the one saving grace, but it's also just the manner they're losing some of these rounds. Jing is on fire. Like, you've tried to put Raga in onto the Raze, and don't get me wrong, he's not been bad. But when Jing is currently 11-3, you put down a reveal and he's able to get 2 kills through the smoke while spotting out those players.
Just hiding there.
It's a scary prospect. Because we already know that when this man is playing the Raze, there are few that can match. And within the first 8 rounds of the game, we're going to get our second timeout. Both coaches being incredibly proactive. But you can understand why. It's a match that PaperX, obviously, they don't want to lose their opening game on their run to potentially a back-to-back trophy. And XOG know that, hey, we might be playing one of the best teams in the tournament, but you go into that lower bracket, it might not get much easier.
Exactly. And the reality is, I think this is irrespective of the position in the tournament. Just looking at the game and how we got here, it could have been a 4-1 lead with an anti-eco going their way, something XLG should have secured. And lapses in judgment, little mistakes. And that's given the breadcrumbs, the trail for PaperX to fall back into this game from the coaching staff perspective. You got to get in there early, highlight those things that when you're talking about them in scrims or after scrims, you're doing your VOD reviews, you identify these problems, but putting them into action on the day, on the stage, that's a different thing entirely. And now that challenge for XLG, as you said, the economy still pretty healthy. They'll get full buys. Some regen shields have to be bought up, but for the most part, we're in a healthy spot. Ults are online for both squads, but this is a turning point. They lose this, economy in the bin, PaperX on a streak.
It's going again.
And it's the same play through B. Reveal sees nothing, Flash gets nothing, and now it's all onto the A site.
Yeah, they've got so much information, though. They're already starting that flank seconds into the round, and that was a pixel shot that takes that one. Molotov over the top as well. Something just sat at the back. He knows that he doesn't need to re-aggress from this point onwards. Viva needs to put up a play, and in fact, it's going to be the orbital strike committed to just try and force them back. That will buy his team not only some space, but a little bit of extra time.
Oh, and here we go. The showstopper activated. Jing on a tear has another to work with, and it's Coconut down. The player deep towards the bathroom is Viva, and he is out of the action, but No Man and Raga making it happen on site. Defuse tap, but Seekers see that no one's on it. Spray almost dropping a few. Look how low the health bars are for XLG, but they are holding on tooth and nail till No Man's caught with a knife out, and now it's all onto Viva. He's got to be quick, down to the 1v1, but time is already gone. XLG up to 5 with a Red Bull clutch.
It's just chaos. That round was absolute chaos. Ults being thrown in left, right, and center. Just the pace of that flank, I thought it was going to be a massive problem, but I think just spotted out by Viva, that's just filthy. Like, I don't even know how he can spot that, but just the reactions of someone like something that, yeah, just being able to deny that flank long enough, you could see the rest of the team then garner extra space. Otherwise, they were going to be stuck in that corner. And a big clutch to be won.
Good round. So many
Still, though, economy-wise, I think XLG is still in a worse spot here. Those ultimates that they had have been expended, and the only one that wasn't expended by PaperX has been now.
Viper's Pit for early control. Be long, as we said, it's been a focus for those early fights of PaperX, and we've certainly seen it with the deep dives from Jing. I think that's been more apparent. But now, the aggression's coming in elsewhere. Forsaken. Oh, he's looking the wrong way again. His timing. It's through no fault of his own. It's just been slightly off. And XLG, they find the advantage as a result. But still to deal with is something on that operator. And once they walk through that wall, big danger awaits. Jing's the one to draw first blood. And patience on something might get him a reward. Instead, he goes for the wingman. Delays the plant.
Trying to slow them a little bit. Falling for the rotation of the remaining players, but it's a little bit labored. I think the amount that XOG have been taking those TPs has started to get into the head of PaperX, conditioning them to not rotate quite as quickly as maybe they would. Something though, well, talking of quickly, this man is so fast with that operator and already clearing out that lamp's position. It leaves just two. Make that one standing. Only Diva left. A nice couple of shots though. Maybe in with a charge and he gets all four. A Red Bull clutch from Viva. How has he done that?
That is going to haunt PaperX for the rest of this game. Maybe this week, maybe this tournament. Two players not even looking. They're so locked in on the spike.
It's day one. It's map one. We can't be having clutches like this already. Like, this is a 1v4. And look at this final kill. He didn't even know where the Jing was. He didn't know where he was being shot from. It's like, oh, this hurts.
That is one of the most ridiculous things I've seen. PaperX, they win the rounds they shouldn't. They lose the ones they should. Something on Naraga now. PaperX are angry. They're getting aggressive, but Viva, he is fighting right back. 6 kills in a row for him now. He's only got 9 in the map. I mean, I don't know what happened to him since last round, but XLG 4v3, and it's all thanks to Viva.
Oh, you know, they say the Viva la France. Maybe he's just found his home. Like, I don't, I don't know what's going on. But whatever happens, anybody who walks into the crosshair of something over the last couple of rounds has ended up dead.
Oh, Happy Way. He's got the flank. Again, it's the same scenario. The guy from PaperX gets one immediately shot in the back. The timing, good and bad, I suppose. Wade up. We're back to a 2v2, though, and that op is still lurking around. But on this side of the map, it's only Divine. He doesn't last long. No Man's Sky able to take him down. And the op, all that stands for PaperX. This could be a 7-4 lead for the underdog.
It's still, you know, something is alive. And he's going with the operator. Knows at least where the opponents on the other side are sitting. He's going to try and just get it to half. Honestly, that's not bad. He will have to deal with the Tiger. And they now have to swing this. They have to go looking because he's already managed to get it halfway through. Oh! What? A 1v2 where he has an operator and he manages to isolate both fights. Oh, it makes no sense, Mitch. It makes no sense.
I don't know what's going on in this game, man. Another Red Bull clutch, another 4K. This time it's on PaperX's side. This swing wide as well. Caught Happy Way off guard. He thought he had the jump on him. And something jumps to his feet. A frustrating loss. What could have been a 7-4 lead, a guaranteed lead at the halftime.
They won a 1v4 the round before. Like, if we're going, balance has been restored in the world.
Absolutely. Perfectly balanced. As all rounds should be. Back and forth we go, but for PaperX, this is where they want to bring it up one more. 6-6 at the halftime. 3 pistols that PaperX are up against. A huge advantage to the defenders, but already a lot of space taken by XLG.
A large amount of invested utility. That's most of what they have. Dimensional Drip utilized, but an immediate first kill. The trade again has gone back the other way, but this time the weaponry advantage starting to take control. It's left all on to Happy Way. A 1v4, but this time only with a pistol. And there is no hope. There should be no hope. And eventually the job gets done. It is a dead even half. And honestly, Mitch, I think it's about right. I think it's about right. 6-6 seems fair.
Certainly not the half I expected to see, Tom.
No.
And then 5 rounds in, it's not the half I expected to see either, because XLG were
maybe
dominating.
Not even the half I wanted to see. There was some stuff happening
come
there.
Come on, I'm here for the 4K Red Bull clutches all day long. this has been a competitive one. And like we said, XLG underdogs, but there's no reason to count them out. Paperex, even in rounds where they're underdogs, they show us just how hard you can swing when you're fighting up. And I think after this half, it's anyone's guess what is going to be going on when we go to half number 2. But I'll tell you what, before we get there, we've got a halftime break. And during it, we're going to go over to Lou, who's standing by with a special guest. It's Jing's mom.
Bonjour, bonjour à tous. On est en direct pour ce premier jour des Champions, en direct des arènes avec la maman de Jing qui a voyagé à travers le monde pour soutenir son fils. It's a pleasure to welcome you, Pearl, to Champions Paris, following Jing as always. So this is going to be my first question. What makes you follow your son in all his adventures? What are you the most proud of him?
I'm very proud of him, but the real reason why I'm following him is because my son doesn't know how to pack his luggage. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good answer. And you know, you always need your mom's help, you know, for this stuff, even if you're an adult. Donc première question, qu'est-ce qui fait que vous venez soutenir votre fils comme ça à l'autre bout du monde? Et bah tout simplement, il ne sait pas faire sa valise. Donc je suis avec lui pour un petit peu toutes ces étapes-là. Second question, we're speaking about Paris, you know, the city of light, the city of love, but also the city of very good food. So have you been able to try any? What do you want to try?
We tried the escargot.
Escargot?
Yes, it's really good, and my son's favorite. And also we went to this really good hot chocolate place, Carrette.
Okay.
Carette. Yeah, it's really fantastic, and we are going back again.
Oh, you're gonna be back again for sure. Donc, est-ce que tu as pu tester un petit peu de la nourriture française? On le sait, on est connu pour l'amour, pour notre belle ville, mais aussi pour notre nourriture. Et du coup, oui, j'ai testé les escargots. Jing a adoré, c'est son plat préféré. Et moi, de mon côté, on a aussi goûté du chocolat chaud. Donc voilà, on y retournera, c'est sûr. And let's see now if Jing brings back the victory on this first match. Let's get back to the game.
Chocolat chaud et escargot. Not a bad palate, I have to say. Some sweet treats in there. And when you look at this game, another sweet treat for us and all the folks at home and here in the venue at Paris. This 6-6 scoreline, Tom, it certainly caught us off guard. Paperex clear favorites, we would think, but it's been a back and forth game as we get into the Coinbase econ report.
Yeah, no surprise to see Jing is very high up on that one. He's been having a pretty damn good game so far, but in all honesty, it has been this sort of like, who is going to win the round for Paperex, or on the other side, it feels like anybody can step up. Jing and Something definitely leading the way in terms of just the individual brilliance. 16-7, 14-7, both have had their rounds, but yeah, that Viva clutch, the 1v4 to start the tournament, I don't know, that's going to be difficult to top. I'm sure somebody will at some point, but honestly, madness in this first half. And the good thing is, obviously data incredibly low because we haven't seen much of it from the side of XLG other than their victory versus DRG, but they were way better on defense. So it's possible that they come in and this is now their favored half.
Well, that's exactly what Ender was saying on the desk, right? Like, he wanted to see how XLG would perform on the defense because, yes, this is a squad that evidently has the individuals to match up. But the reality is, for Paperex on the attack, that is where they can really pull out all the stops, where they can play like madmen. And we'll look at this pistol round to finally give an advantage in this half to one team or the other. For Paperex, it was 4 players towards B-Long on their defensive side. They had a firing squad ready and waiting, but still, XLG took the cake. Will it be the same?
Hello.
There are 3 players ready and waiting on the A site. TP is still available. You never know if they'll double back in. They're using the Viper screen to take themselves a lot of additional space. Jing has already made it round the backline. Nade over the top is going to make this very awkward for Viva in position. In fact, not awkward, he's gone down. The remaining 2 players still in position, but Jing is just running right. Eventually he should fall, but there's a trade to be had.
Yeah, finally. It comes through. Something sneaking about. He's gone into the spawn, and Happy Way was none the wiser. No man. The last one standing. No man to help him but himself. And a big swing to come through from Devi. He's the first to fall. Now down to a 1v2.
Something with the
Something, and that will be a death sentence. He won't escape. Pistols, 1-1.
Taking themselves the lead in the game, and we'll be looking to see see if there is any sort of response. The amount of space they were able to get just off the back of the Viper screen, maybe not something you'd expect in most rounds. Maybe a little bit of extra utility available in that part of the map, but it did make it quite difficult once that wraparound had already come in through the lamps to have any sort of map control or site control for XLG. Happy way, he had a Bucky on attack. Now he's got a Bucky on defense, but I'm a little bit happier to see where he's playing with it in this round.
Yeah, perhaps a bit more normal. As we said, whether you're in lamps or hookah, those shotguns can do a lot of damage, and I think there's good reason that PaperX are avoiding those closer range engagements straight up through B long. Again, this has been, I feel like, the hot spot on the map for this team.
Okay.
It's not looking too good to start. Looking there to pick up the pieces. Patman down. They lose that fade utility. They lose the ability to see what's behind that wall. Do they decide to still go bursting through as XLG have made the rotate?
This early, the power of that double flash, the Sky Gecko. A guaranteed blind. Okay. Oh, okay, he gets through. The Bucky does at least a little bit of damage, but there were definitely some weaker weapons in hand, so although I think the Marshal's been kept over a Spectre, it really doesn't make much of a difference, and they will at least keep themselves the rifles.
Marshal over a Spectre, I'll take that deal any day coming into the next round.
It depends what your plan is.
No, I'll take it any day. We've already seen the no-scopes work. But we'll see as we move on to the next. This is where XLG, you know, all those good deeds will be forgotten if they end up going out with 7, 8, 9 rounds. We want to see them battling tooth and nail. We want to see them taking the fight to PaperX here, but it's not easy. This bonus round, if you want to even call it that, it's only one Bulldog that's at a disadvantage for the attacking side. Sprays through again, B-Long, 4 players there. It seems like this is just PaperX's first 15-second plan in so many of the rounds, and it does almost get them first blood. No man's on half, the nade is on, a lot of damage. Desperately low, he's in the open, somehow gets one before he falls.
I'm surprised he didn't just take the TP. That control, something they're willing to sacrifice his life to battle for, especially when his teammate had full control over showers already. So it wasn't even a risk, really, going through that TP with the Viper screen available as well. Forsaken, even on low HP, still brawling though. 45 when he took that fight, but now leaves a couple of opponents tagged up as well.
Yeah, if Viva walks out of this round with a 4K, I think we pause for an investigation. Down to 6 HP, 25 up on the shields, at least the regen. Keeping him relatively healthy, and he's on his way. Smoke's already down. Mosh pit to buy a little bit of time, but the plant hadn't even been tapped yet. 35 seconds, still plenty to play with for PaperX, and they've sent Forsaken. B-side. A pick. They can go for the TP now. They can wrap back around, but they've already gone in towards the site.
Can Patman escape? They've had to use a smoke across, and no, Raga spams. That was the problem. He didn't make it into the TP in time. Forsaken had hit his timing, but the rest of the team were fairly well committed. Maybe a little bit of a mix-up in what was the plan. And while for Forsaken, his only choice now is to run, grab the spike, and try and plant on the A site. I don't think he has time for that anymore. Too wary of where his opponents are going to be. XLG, just based on, I feel like the havoc that PaperX caused themselves, have been able to win the round.
You look at this situation as if you just stick that play towards the A side. Already so much of the utility burned up from XLG. They don't have the mosh pit to deny. Then maybe they could have found success. Great pick. Considering he was so desperately low, but yeah, you start seeing players fall back, pull forward. It becomes chaos.
One of the last bullets.
I think it was literally the last bullet from Raga. Ends up dropping the spike. Could have made it to the TP a little bit earlier. Sheet here in PaperX, will they have fallen apart because of it? Still, that was the quote-unquote bonus round. Now they come in with a Guardian instead of the Bulldog in the previous, but a big weapon. Showstopper, and it's right onto Viva.
This is a cheeky little off angle though from Raga. He's finding in the smoke. Well, doesn't get rewarded for it. Does at least deny the plant for now, but with the amount of space that's already there, it seems like it's going to be a lot more commitment in this round from PaperX. Not risking the rotate back. They've done well to clear out Jing though, and we'll even things up once again.
It's going to be a very late play coming in from something. The wraparound.
The coconut.
He's heard Coconut, but Coconut didn't hear him, and pops the ult. It's disastrous. Something's going to be right on them with no man in the dog as well. It's a double kill. Something. It looked like he was late to the party. but he ends up winning the round for Paper X. That is a great flank from the Yoru.
I think with just how direct that initial take was, I don't think there was any expectation that somebody would be lurking on the other side of the map. Like, if they were a little bit quicker, that could have all gone wrong, but instead, and rightly so, they go back and they go, okay, yeah, let's try and take this one slow. Let's use the thrash to clear out all of these risky positions, and because of it, they get caught, they get bitten.
Happyway is having a terrible time.
Well, 9-7. Unfortunately for XLG, that was all of their money invested. Forsaken is going to spot this out, but it's just a shooting range. Up against no weaponry, and while Happyway is trying to try and take this fight with a bucky, there's absolutely no hope. For Paper X, and any economy problems are immediately dissipated.
There it is, the new skin, the new finisher. 3 more needed for Paper X if you're having trouble figuring out what's between 10 and 13. And this is what we're worried about, right? It's about once that ball gets rolling, the snowball effect on Paper X, the individual confidence sky high, something playing one of the latest lurks in the previous round. It's a terrifying sign for XLG. They need to bounce back. It's going to be a good time to put in their pause. I see the timer frozen, and indeed it is going to be a pause from XLG. I don't think that takes many brain cells to work. And slide, and it's Paper X who seems set to take this map. Perhaps not the series, but you have to remember, they chose Sunset up next. Whatever we think about that, they must have ideas.
Oh, for sure. I think that it's a map that, okay, maybe they had a slip up versus Zeta, but that does feel like a bit of a weird week for Paper X in general. Other than that, confident win over T1, and over the last few months have had big victories versus a lot of top teams. So I don't think they're going to be too worried going into that matchup. And on the other side of things, well, XOG got decimated by DRG on that map. So I think that this is, even though this is a very, very good map for Paper X and maybe overall a solid time for XOG, you also have to then consider the rest of the group. Like an informed looking GX, Sentinels. Like I think most people would have Paper X Sentinels making it out based on previous tournaments. And for XLG, although a loss to Paper X is nothing to be ashamed of, it's very similar to what we saw at the prior event where, oh, you lost to G2 and Sen. You didn't do bad though. It's like, well, it
as we said, the pain of nearly. For XLG, that's what's going to haunt them. They come in today, you tell them you're going to lose 2-0, 2-1 to Paper X. Okay, fine. As long as we put up a fight, but then you tell them you could have won, you were close.
Yeah.
You had the
At least in the first half.
Hey, in the first half, absolutely. This could have been a 7 or 8 round half from them. But this is the moment where they can't leave anything on the table. Where are those signs of life? Rifles in hand, a lot of light shields. Ult's not really there for the defenders, but for the attackers, they've got all the info. Something's already seen these players on site. Orbital strike comes through, play inside the smoke. Flashes popped at something, even though it didn't hit. It surely did. We're down to a 3 versus 4. Full control for Paper X with Biba down. Swarmed from all sides. And XLG have to fight an uphill battle, but the first steps go swimmingly.
That's not bad. A couple of low players as well. The swing, Coconut has managed to bring this round into contention. A 2 versus 4 that, I'll be honest, looked impossible. Ragar, I wasn't even sure if he was going to go for it, but when Coconut puts that into play, there's a chance. Even still, Forsaken and Divine, normally a safe pair of hands. The defenders, they're going to group up. They're going to try and join each other, but the swing for Forsaken isolates the battle. It gives Raga a chance once again, and the swing is perfect. 5 HP is all he needs as XLG win the 2v4.
That is a huge win, and we heard it from him in the interview. As I said earlier, this is a guy that said he just wants to prove that he's got what it takes to fight against some of these players, a team that we've seen with the 5 duelist comp before. But he can match up against them. That's devastating for Happyway. Thank God they had that clutch in the end. Your scoreline stays close down to a gap of 2 thanks to this man here. Look how desperately close it was. Close ain't good enough for Paper X. Gap of 2. The rifles still come out on the attacking side.
Definitely seeing some of those blips. 1v4, 2v4. Paper X making a fair amount of mistakes with
hefty advantages, but XLG are doing well to capitalize off of them. Coconut with a huge individual round and basically keeping them in the match. That would have been their economy not only wrecked, but also Paperex being just a couple away from taking their own map choice. They do have to be careful in this round. Light shields on every player bar one. And that sniper, for something, think about the first half and how much it caused them issues. They can't afford to give this man a fight.
Not at all. You end up getting lit down 140 in this to 10 HP, and it's pretty much guaranteed pickup for Paperex when the utility bombardment comes through. There's the Outlaw already spotted with the decoy sent through. Flash finds nothing but it. Always the danger that that's a Yoru on his own, ready to gate crash, but now the Flash confirms that the big play is coming through. They've taken Jing out of the sky. No Man's got two. The Patman tries his best to pull it back, yet it's left all onto Divide. He's got 3 to take down. The first comes easy, but 25 seconds. A Viper's Pit online. He might even have time to get this up after the plant. From where is the question? With the showstopper hunting him down, it looks like he wants to stand his ground. He wants to take the pick, but decides to fall back a little too late. Rarga again getting the round on the board in the final stages for XLG, and a 10-9. The signs of life very much there.
Yeah, like doubling up in that corner, it definitely seemed like a gamble. You know that if a player runs through and just maybe even gets a little bit lucky, it could have been your round over. I think that's something that XOG have done great so far in this match, is that surprise factor. They have been so hard to read that even when you have a full bombardment of utility, they're able to come out with an advantage. And even then, just I like him watching Coconut play. Like, even though he ends up going down in the fight versus Divide, his goal is to stay alive. He's not trying to be the hero. He's not trying to put the team on his back. He is basically going, okay, let's buy as much time as possible for my team.
Snake fight, landing on long, denying that control for XLG. But it's towards the A site that the real fight is coming in. And the reaction from XLG very early on, they pop the Thrash. They see players inside of Bath, but that Thrash not retrievable, not finding the impact. It's a glorified drone.
Coconut doesn't want to hold it for a retake again. Oh, the nades are going to be exchanged, but it's Divide almost using the distraction of a teammate, and well, 3 players immediately down. We've seen a 1v4, 2v4, we've definitely not seen a 1v5, and I don't think Viva is going to give the time of day. And this is what I felt like has been the difference between the two squads. It feels like when XOG win a round, it is by the skin of their team. It is very close, it's maybe a player or 2 surviving or a clutch round. When Paperex win a round, well, as of yet, there's not a point of damage done.
I know it's kind of bad of you to assume Viva's not winning this 1v5. With time ticking and Spike on the other side of the map. But I agree with you entirely, in all seriousness. Like, Paperex, like you said, they look dominant in some of the rounds that they're taking. XLG, it's clutches. It's thriving in the chaos, back and forth, trading blows. Viva will even get out of here with the Guardian. You've heard the TP, so did he. The smoke buys him a little bit of extra space. Looks like he's okay. 32 HP, though. That was close to disaster. 11-9. Paperex 2 away, XLG 2 behind. It still is anyone's game, but there's a problem brewing, Tom.
Yeah, this is the issue. When you have so many casualties in the round that you win. Okay, yeah, right. I'm glad that the player
he saw him earlier.
The player was highlighted. It's like, yeah, and then he just banged him through the smoke. Just off timing.
He obviously calculated how far he could walk.
Exactly. I think he has a ruler on stage.
Well, sure was allowed.
Divide is abysmal.
Catch them if they do go through that pit, having the judge investment. The problem is, when you look at the tab as Paperex and you see, okay, they don't have much money, and you see a pick go up, if you decide to go through that pit, you're insane. Now, Paperex are insane.
Sometimes they,
so there is a chance they do that. It's actually rated against them, but yeah, generally speaking, that's just not going to find the value. We have to look elsewhere.
The only
of course, you can't force that B because you have to clear that Bath wraparound.
The other thing will be the assumption of a stack, though. It's, if you see that pit, you're mostly probably going to assume maybe it's just one player there. It really is a game of playing the odds. 45 seconds left. Viper screen definitely causing them issues before with the amount that it's been able to delay, but this time they're through it with relative ease. Actually going to commit the orbital strike. They're going to try and isolate players. Viva has done well. The problem is he has been lost. Jing again with another high impact round, and the rest of the team have plenty of time to make their way into the site. We've spoken about the clutches, what XLG have managed to bring home, but this one I would really, I expect a hole in the desk.
Batman literally get a bit.
I expect a hole in the desk from XLG's coaching staff, though. This feels like an overheat, Tom. You come into this round where you've got next to nothing, where you're fighting. If you lose
Batman, one more.
3 rounds in a row, 3 chances in a row to close it, and a pit and an orbital strike put through. That feels like such a heavy commitment, leaving them with nothing for this buy round.
I guess the look here is that, okay, now we have 2 chances, once with the ultimates and once with the rifles, rather than having 1 chance to all in. I don't necessarily mind it. Like, I do get what you're saying, like, especially when you're up against someone like PaperX. I do feel like there's also the thing of, like, you could have both those ult and then still lose, and then you've just given them the other.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the pit I'm not against. Orbital strike caught me off guard.
Oh, here we go.
Down 1, here goes Showstopper.
Oi.
It's gone.
Rare
Slaps him out of the sky. Pop in a flash, won't find much else. And another popped in as Viva.
Viva.
But finds himself too. Now, inside the smoke, he will fall. But he's given his team a fighting chance. The problem is, with that Viper's pit going up, they now have an uphill battle to get anywhere near that spike. That's close. But he doesn't go back till it's too late for the spam.
Yeah, I think maybe assume that he let go.
Happy way.
Both players likely confined to this pit. Although Patman has managed to leave. The drop will be known, and it's risky from Divide, but the risk pays off, and now No Man left alone. Pit going to be dropped, and Divide is there to close it. It was a valiant effort by XLG, a fight back and forth, but ultimately the job expected to be won, and was won by PaperX.
Well, this is expected result, but an unexpected way we got here, right? This was quite a journey. XLG showing us that they've got the ability to take PaperX, to push them to their limits, and they'll have to do the same on Sunset, PaperX's map, after this break.
Actually cannot believe we are playing already our first match.
Reason is we win Japan. We go here. We tire. It's like a bit. Then we win champion. Yeah, we tire. We start slow, and then after that we rocket up mother truths.
Now that I'm a mom, things are different. Verizon's different too. They let everyone in my family choose different plans. We get what we want and we save money. Love that for me.
An update is required. Financial system updating. System updated.
We will dance together.
slow start, or was it XLG doing something that surprised all of you?
I mean, first of all, I think XLG is a very good team. You know, they champions of Stage 1 China. They have the MVP in their team. Aside from that, I think both teams are a little bit nervous. So you could see like the games were. I mean, everyone was trying to take their time and relaxing a little bit, trying not to make mistakes. So I believe that now that everyone's warmed up, I think the second game will be a banger.
Oh, that's a teaser. Well, good luck to you guys.
Paper X, they take map 1 here, but they did have to work for it, Ender and Doug. It wasn't easy by any means. So if we take a look at the HyperX reflex moment here from Viva, this was ridiculous.
This was absolutely insane. So No Man gets cleared down short. And then look at these shots from Viva. So quick on the adjustments. It's like one shot miss, instant reset headshot. Miss, instant reset headshot. Just sick.
Yintu, I think you said it exceptionally well. They pushed Paper X. I think they had a really good idea on their attacking side. We talked a bit about the Waylay versus the Raze and how, traditionally speaking, the Raze it's a little bit more, but maybe they'd be missing a little bit of that, you know, Joker in their hand, a little like trick to try to make their attack side a little bit more, a little bit stronger. But I love the way they layered their utility. I think there were often times that Paper X looked a little overwhelmed on sites. They did a really good job of chaining those together, and it was enough in the first half, but then everything kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it was. If we take a look at the post-spawn, we can tell they've given us a reason to believe why they picked Bind.
Well, I think the first thing is, I think XLG really locked in the post-plants, and we're very aware of the flanks. You heard Alex talking about it. I think PRX were going way too often for walk-ups and going for flanks, and the crowd here is going wild for the flanks, it sounds like. But honestly, I think XLG held their ground really nicely, and specifically Viva and No Man's Sky. You know, great game, great player. Absolutely popping off in these late rounds.
And again, I think it was, they understood their game plan was utility dump onto the site, get out there. And once you get there, once you get into a post plant, they've got Paper X figured out a little bit, but they also knew what their protocol was.
I even love the creativity of like Viva realizing 3 people are on the flank. He drops the Brimald, right? Just to delay, and he ends up going down, but you still see those moments where I think XLG did a very good job of adjusting to the chaotic style that PRX were bringing.
They did, definitely, indeed. This is the thing, though. If it weren't for, you know, the something Jing duo doing so well, being able to bring this game back, it could have been, you know, even an overtime, I think, the way that XLG were playing.
I think there's a world where, like, without something just dominating, like, 3 rounds in the first half and solo winning them, like, XLG could have been up 8 or 9 at the half, but it's brought down to 6 and 6 because of the great work out of something, and him and Jing just crushed.
Yeah, in the second half. Ender, I think you're absolutely right. If it was not for something stabilizing in that first half, it probably gets away from them in the first half. And then, you know, Alex was talking about it in interview. They needed to calm down a little bit. They were kind of over-swinging. They were a little bit too up. But if not for something's heroics, we're talking about an entirely different half and potentially an entirely different score here.
He was giving it as well, which is crazy, you know.
Yeah, out of his seat a little bit.
I love to see it. I would also love to hear what Havoya had to say, of course, standing by with Mika Faz ahead of map 2.
I'm here right now with Havoya of XLG. Now, that was a very tough first map. I wanted to ask about the Bind pick, because this is one of Paper X's strongest maps. It's also a strong map for XLG, but I was just curious on your thoughts of picking that map, and was it because you felt like the ban on Lotus was more important for Paper X?
I think, first of all, Paper X feel themselves better on Lotus, but also we feel fine on Bind. It was just like a tough series for us, and I mean the map, and we dropped some ecos. Also, we didn't manage to win second pistol. I think if we could step up a little bit earlier, I think it could be our map. So it is what it is. Let's move on to the second map.
Right, well, hopefully they step up a bit more on Sunset.
What are their chances on Sunset? If on Bind, you guys weren't super sure why they chose this, does it get better on Sunset for XLG?
No, honestly, I mean, we were a little bit surprised with the Bind coming through, but it was sort of a secret weapon map for them in the playoffs for the team. So I think Bind was almost a must-win in the series with it being PRX's choice here.
Which is almost unfair to ask, given that you're going against an undefeated Paper X on Bind, but I'm inclined to agree with you. It did feel like a must-win, and as we turn our attention over to Sunset, again, there's going to be a Sage. We're going to see that for the first time on the global stage, for sure, the buff stage and kind of how that changes playstyle.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's less of a major change to the playstyle. It gives you a lot more ability to like react, put down a wall from a further range as you're rotating in or something like this to put it down. But I think for XLG, what they will have been focusing on in a lot of the prep work, coming in knowing that high chance that Sunset is going to be coming through in the map here, is when they're working against PRX's defense. PRX puts up so much of a fight into the mains, A main, B main, and I think that XLG need to be very snappy at punching these forward positions. I think having a Neon and a Yoru in your comp to take down those angles is a good spot.
Oh, it's no more. Noman's not playing Deadlock anymore. It's going to be Noman, Neon, and Raga Yoru. I really like this.
I do too.
I like it a lot.
I'm completely on board with this. I think you have so many different fighting tools, again, to punish PaperX overextending, and again, you call it overextending, but they are often dominating on those forward lines. I think also with the way that Noman was dominating back on Bind, you could not ask for a better guy to be stepping into that second duelist role for the team here on Sunset.
I think this might be his 7th or 8th agent that he's played on this team.
Literally everything.
Yeah, you're right. I do think, so when I saw the change from Waylay to Raze, I thought, okay, they're going to want to fight it out with PaperX, and I think we saw a lot of that in the first half. I think this follows that same line of thinking. They're going to want to duke it out with PaperX, and that's a hard thing to do. They did it in the first half, kind of fell apart in the second half. I'm hesitant to see this on Sunset.
Yeah, and if that map was PaperX needing to warm up, they're going to get scarier, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be more warmed up on Sunset. It is their map pick. But there is a switch up on the side of the comms, at least, for XLG. So maybe that's throwing another spanner in the works for them. I don't know how you guys feel, but I would love to hear what Mitchman and Tombiz thinks about that little agent change.
Well, Tom, how's that tickled your fancy?
I don't know. I feel like being a little bit more boisterous could be nice. I think Noman definitely had a few moments individually. I do fear that trying to almost beat PaperX with firepower and aggression might not work. I think it's a bold play. I do want to focus though on Happyway because I feel like he had a pretty poor first map, and he's someone that the Des highlights I like to highlight as well as one of their best players individually. He's now a pivotal part, especially on the defense and on the lurk. If he's having a poor performance, PaperX win easy.
No, without a doubt. As you said as well, looking at Neon, it will be point of contact. No, this guy was stellar when it came to that first map.
Look at the
PaperX, they didn't get the memo. They think they're still on the attack side. They've pushed through mid with 3. Full control, 4 in fact. You can count the player towards the door of Patman, who will be safeguarding Market. But this is all about the flank game. And there is, luckily, a trap waiting for them there. So it won't be a complete surprise that there's someone there. It just might be a bit of a surprise quite how many players Happyway is about to see.
Yeah, Patman's the only player elsewhere, down to 1 HP already, so I have to be a bit more careful. But you can see they have switched up where they are defending this spike from, or pushing all the way around. It hasn't mattered though. The swarm that is PaperX has given them an advantage, and Device is going to start defusing. He's just going to stick behind the wall. They need to run back around over the top. They need to go, and it seems like they are not going to be able to deal with anything. It is diffused in front of their nose. Rocker, he did well, and I think Device even stopped for a second. He was like, okay, someone's going to jump on this wall, and then they didn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were too busy dealing with players towards main. It's a nasty little strategy, and one that has worked wonders. There was a gap on the, on the left side here. From Forsaken's perspective, it could have been exploited on the wraparound as well, so no surprise that he was a little bit worried. In the end, Morga surviving on 1 HP, but it doesn't make a difference. It is 1-0 start for PaperX. We want to see XLG on the board early because we saw it in the last one. PaperX slow to start. We even heard it in the comms. They called it. Let's start slow, and then we get them. Paraphrasing.
Yeah, you can't start a train at full speed. That's not how it works.
That is true. Got to pick it up. They only had to dock into the station, speak with the conductor, Alex, one time, and it was plain sailing.
I love watching something because, like, you would see him play an agent that you think is like, okay, supportive util, lineup, and then he's playing contact with a sniper rifle at B main. It doesn't necessarily add up. I also love the fact that we've seen these changes to Sage, obviously making the range of that wall so much further. So Devi obviously places it 2 millimeters away from where he is. Yeah. This round, expectation incredibly low.
any weaponry drop
Three.
would be nice. And hey,
Raga.
Braga has dropped one of the rifles, and that should be retrievable.
Boy.
Oh, good selection, though, from something.
Will be retrievable, but at a heavy cost indeed. Round goes Jing. He's down to 15.
Oh
Doesn't
my
need to
God.
swing as something covers that.
Everything.
2-0 start for PaperX. 4 players alive. Big weapon still carried through, and it's a strong start. But this round is really where we get the litmus test. A good sign early on, though, is seeing Rarga be able to deliver. As we said, he's someone that comes in, as he said as well, he's someone who comes in here with something to prove, and he's certainly playing like it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. As I said, like last time we saw XOG at Masters, it wasn't really anything to write home about. Like obviously we've seen them have a fair few roster changes throughout the year, trying to fill in for you, and I don't mean you, obviously.
For me?
No.
Shadows traveling. You're trying to replace me, Thomas. This like Baby Bay. It's all right. I'm ready to play.
Okay.
Me against him.
Your Phoenix might be better than his. We'll have to
Oh, well, there's no need for that.
This purchase is definitely an odd one, though. You've got yourself a Bucky and for Forsaken. Sting is still in play. Like, this is around the XOG nigh on half to win. Otherwise, the amount of economy upgrades that there will be. Dimensional Drift only 1 away as well. Could be powerful in that post pump, but it is a wide net currently being thrown out by XOG. And while Forsaken mentioned that he had a weaker gun, it didn't stop him taking a fairly aggressive angle.
45 on the clock, fairly committed from XLG. They got to go towards this site. Jing to deal with to start. Great stun, but he gets out of there thanks to the blast packs. Well placement. 35 now. XLG got to pick up the pace. Wrapping around, but PaperX are flooding back into the site. 3 players here now with one deeper towards the spawn. This is essentially a 4-man hold. 25 seconds, and they call for the rotate. Yeah, it's the right call. They've dragged all these players over. And they'll make their way across mid with that smoke with ease. This should be a plant, but I'm always wary of PaperX's ability to be disruptive. Something, he's in there. Only one.
Yeah, and they've managed to make it to the site. The spike was being guarded all the way through. A good redirection, especially with the Sage Wall being used in towards the spawn. There was the box up top that you would have had Devi watching from afar. And now even with no man in the spawn, just waiting to try and catch them as they fall out. The fact is, though, PaperX, all of these guns are going to be upgraded in the next round anyway, so they might as well try and do some damage.
That's exactly what they're looking for. You see all this deep clears of middle. The idea is certainly in their head that someone could be lurking around. Rifle picked up for Devi as well. Good chance to make these exits very costly. He will close in towards this spawn. I don't think Jing has any chance of, oh, actually he might have a chance to have an impact. He goes back to mid, but Devi is shut down. Okay, 2-1, 4 players alive for XLG. That's a picture perfect round 3.
Yeah, and that's exactly as clean as it needed to be. It definitely got a little bit dangerous, and as we mentioned, like, you're always going to see these sort of timing fights looking to be utilized by the side of PaperX. It gets them a lot of early information. So I like the fact that with 20 seconds left, they were willing to sort of gamble on that rotation, not fearful that they'll be caught somewhere else. Even still, though, it's going to be an immediate purchase back up from the side of PaperX, and I'm kind of looking at Braga here. He's going to immediately utilize that Dimensional Drift. Bear in mind, the only weapon he has is the Shorty.
Perfect for this ultimate. One flash left. Oh, he's come out without one. Moving around through the smokes, but the wraparound from Patman. Quick on his feet. He'll take Rarga down. Now it's rifles, though, that they will be up against. The trick play hasn't worked. Devi's dead. Dead to rights. It's even a headshot from Nomad to lock it in. But still, a 2 versus 4. Can't even get the 3 out before Patman's dealing with another. PaperX holding strong so far. And Happy Way failing to take down Jing. Now that's the information. The element of surprise gone for his position. And the wraparound super late from Forsaken. He's going to cause issues, but Viva seemed aware of it. The timing, though, he corrects in time, but he can't quite land the shot.
Yeah, it's been a lot of moments, especially with how low some of these players are, but there's a chance, but it seems like PaperX are ready and raring to go on this defensive half. A third already picked up, and I have to say that the orb placement coming out from Patman there in the early stages of that round was just wonderful. Like you see this attempt to play into the back of the site, and he's just denied all of it, just keeping hold of that control.
Yeah, it's the fact that he's able to walk into spawn to be safe and then back out with his smoke, right? It's so much value delivered as a result of that. I'm not sure what's being said there. I love these guys. The energy on the stage is different, and 3-1 up. Energy will only increase as these rounds keep going their way, but Paper-Rex, deep play, caught by the stun, caught by the paranoia. Jing stuck in the corner, and they know it, but in goes Divide. Happy to help out his buddy, set him up for success. Forsaken's found one elsewhere, but Jing looking the wrong way, will be dropped by Nomad. We're back to a 3v3. Spike still secure for XLG, and this map, it doesn't get any smaller. The less players to defend it, this should be an advantage for the attacking side.
Yeah, it feels like the first 15 to 20 seconds of the round lead to those early battles, and then there's a break in the action. I do feel like XLG throughout this matchup so far have actually done quite well to deny a lot of these plays from Paper-Rex. I think it was even Nomad just having a reactive stun immediately to try and slow that push. And now with 50 seconds left, early rotation available. Forsaken up top, but he has been dealt with immediately. Nomad doing well on this Neon.
Spike planted.
Spike will now be planted.
They know players on side are stuck there. Snakebite stops them from falling back and stops Happyway from helping out, but now it's faded. Happyway on the angle, looking for the fight, finding it, and Nomad tripling up. That's what we needed to see. XLG won't let Paper-Rex run away with this as they push up to 2.
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit skeptical with Nomad going onto the Neon. I think definitely a role that he has played quite a bit in terms of that individual brilliance. I think we saw some of the skill in the last map, but as said, even some of the reactive stuns he's putting out, willing to sort of take a bit of a gamble, take a risk versus these players, and the timing was then in his favor, but even just winning, some of the fights that maybe he necessarily shouldn't. Not even flexing while he does it. 3-2. The economy of Paper-Rex has taken a hit here, though. A pistol for something, although at times it doesn't even feel like a detriment.
Well, Paper-Rex, think back to the last map when they had that astonishing, I think, round 5. Bunch of pistols in play, and that's maybe the most dominant that they'd looked. For XLG, ulti's available. They need those safety nets. It rotates from Coconut, the information. You have a Hunter's Fury soon. Deep play from Nomad. No ult popped. It's down to his rifle. But Coconut's fallen in middle. Rarga, good to trade that back. Now they've sensed the weakness. Blood in the water, but Forsaken still standing strong. Deep fight from Nomad, though, has managed to pull this back to a 3v3, and with the ult pop, he's got a tough fight up against Jing, and he won't win it. But with Forsaken going down, the numbers keep going back and forth until there's only 2 men left standing.
The 1v1
Sova versus Sova.
Sova's on either side. Bit of a risky position to plant from, and because of that, something is going to get away with it. It was kind of as easy as that 1v1 could have gone, but that was, I feel like that. I always talk about an observer's nightmare as a round where there's just a million pieces of utility. I feel like that was it. It was just one kill, but all on different points of the map, like timing to catch out Patman, the drop down avoiding, the fake out, Jing winning the battle versus a slightly shaky Nomad, and then coming all the way down to the 1v1 at the end is Paper-Rex to keep their lead, extend it a little further. But there is still investment here for either side. In fact, both teams' economy here is on the brink. It's only something that has a few extra credits to spare. So a winner of this round, it could be worth a double.
This is going to be so punchy. Could even have a Hunter's Fury off rip coming through from Viva. They want to get aggressive. They want to play this one fast. You can already see Nomad taking space. Paranoia burned by Paper-Rex early to try to slow them down. Jing goes in swinging. Won't find much. And TP from Coconut. He's deep in their spawn. They are making so much pressure towards this A site. Forsaken, he doesn't crumble under that pressure to start, but finally, he will come crashing down. A 4 versus 3. Res possible for Paper-Rex, but the positions of those bodies, it doesn't make it look very likely. Happyway's got beautiful timing, but the shots don't land. Luckily, Rarga's there, picking up the pieces and leaving something alone and trapped in with the enemy. He can't even get out till that wall fades. and he will be cut down to size before that happens. Great round from Happyway after a little shaky of a start.
Yeah, like he gets the job done, but I think also the hesitation there is that he realizes how much value his position holds. He goes swinging wide, guys, they can potentially be isolated on the site. Instead, him staying alive is much more of a burden than even the individual kill that he could have got instead. And it's sort of the Happyway I wanted to see. Like, yeah, sure, still maybe a few jitters here and there, but the guy is always good at having those backstabs, always good at sort of having those multi-frag rounds. And I like the change of pace from XLG. I said so far, I feel like even in the last map, they called a decent game. Like, it didn't look like they were getting outclassed.
And the important thing there is, right, PaperX, on that A-side hold, not only do they have numbers, but they have the wall behind them, so they're not even worried about a mid-flank coming through. Everybody is focused on that choke point, and Coconut being able to go into the spawn makes that much more difficult to do. The guys on site can't just swing out wide and hold the short fight. They can't just look for the elbow duel, because they'll be shot up from spawn potentially. And you have all of these headaches created for PaperX. That very much felt like PaperX getting a taste of their own medicine.
Oh, back to a low bite. Can see how slow and methodical being on the other side.
Oh, nice.
Forsaken has been able to take that first fight. Now the move away is somewhat to sell a ruse for something, but he's going to be able to hear any of the steps as they rotate. They've still got this aggressive position from Jing, and bear in mind, he does have the showstopper available. Probably won't want to use it immediately, but no, never mind. He's going to go straight in, and the steps were faked out. That was Raga's utility that has baited the ultimate, but now they go back towards something. Are they going to check the box? No, they're not, but it's a bit whiffy. Not quite connecting. Divine now the next man up, and Happyway just thriving. The Dane just seemingly slipping out of the round. And what could have been incredibly costly ends up with still 4 players standing.
Great correction from the previous map where PaperX were finding so much value with these weaker weapons. Forsaken, the only player that, well, he didn't have that much of a weaker weapon. He had the Guardian. Wasn't the Sheriff doing the work. And he's recovered a rifle, a chance to do more damage. Surely the round win is already lost.
I'm starting to question that.
It could be an ace, but the problem is you've got Viva deep playing with that Hunter's Fury! And Forsaken now only has that ult to deal with. He now knows where his opponent is with the Hunter's Fury. Surely decides the fate of this round. It's already activated. It might seem early, but the time on the clock is already so low. Forsaken goes in, pops it, goes for the stick. He might have time. It's going to be desperately close. The spam coming in from Viva doesn't get there in time! But it's a 0.02 second difference. Blink and you miss it, but that margin of error swings in XLG's favor.
So you know earlier where I said it might take a
अब
while
की शर्त है XLG के प्लेयर ले टाइम ले पहले
we almost just had it beaten, and it was 0.02 that made it not. That's absurd.
I can feel myself swallowing my own words.
But I'll be honest with you. You doubting Forsaken in this clutch, I'm a little bit disappointed.
They have Hunter's Fury post plant in a 3v1 with the spike planted ages ago.
But Forsaken.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd like to argue with you, but what we just saw means my point's invalid.
Oh, that was so desperately close.
0.0, that's ridiculous.
No.
Wow.
Nice shot.
You can see the confidence right back in. Aggressive start, but this is what I'm saying. XLG have always been doing well to recover any of those early advantages that PaperX are able to gain. Jing could be expecting to be challenged. He's going to spot nothing outside the A site, and because of that, it's allowed for an immediate rotation for Forsaken to get back into B. They have definitely been red, and in fact, Jing can now just lock them in.
Smoke up, it's decently deep, but that drone, oh, it didn't see him. He's gotten inside the smoke. Forsaken! Oh, it's beautiful from PaperX with Jing wrapping around the other side. That slipped through the smoke. It's been a problem. A couple of times you've seen that finesse from PaperX and being quick on their feet, able to get especially smokes, poison orbs, it doesn't matter what it is, but able to get that positional advantage in some of these plays. Even still, a round gap of only 1.
It's definitely been a different match to expected, but still those moments. Jing still performing to a high level.
Now this one is, it's not looking great, is it?
No.
4 sheriffs. an attack side Bucky. It makes a bit more sense when it's on the Neon. Slide in, get real close.
Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of TikToks of that sort of gameplay. We'll see if No Man has it in the locker. It might not matter. Already one going to his teammate, and there you go. That's a Bucky onto Jing. This fast-paced 1-2 punch of the duelists have not only got them positioning, but it's also got them in with that weaponry. And the bigger danger as well is, okay, sure, you had yourself the ultimates. Hunter's Fury might now be able to cause some damage. No Man gone, rifle dropped, drone already being sent through. Raga just immediate on the headshot.
Not hit by the drone either. He sticks around. Divide, though, the one to punish him. The res available. There's a player that can be res. There it is. Patman's brought back. Even numbers. And it gets Coconut curious. He swings out looking for the duel, but now they'll go pushing into him. Viva down, and it's Happy Way against 2. But he's brought it to the 1v1. 6 HP. A headshot needed, but it's Divide jumping with the shorty to close this one out. A round that should have been Paper X's.
Blood.
They will just about get it.
If they
I'm starting to doubt myself there.
If they lost 2 rounds to time with that close, that would have been madness. But unfortunately, the ring around the rosy, the only man falling down in this case was Happy Way. Nice shot from Raga. In fact, an excellent round from him in general. Making this one competitive. I feel like No Man actually walked further into that shot dart rather than away from it. But you understand the panic. A nice attempt. Very low by round, and Happy Way definitely.
I think he was doubting it as well.
Well, he has just watched the spike go off at 0.02. Yeah. So you can kind of understand why he's
Actually,
nervous.
time out.
Not quite as close.
Yeah, the flashback's definitely hitting hard there.
Yeah. XLG.
6-4. XLG, they've called a timeout here on their attack side. That's their first one used, and indeed the first one of this map. It has been a pacey set of rounds. I've liked, as you've said, the direct approach. Even here, they had sheriffs, they had a Bucky. We started out, it doesn't look too good, and it comes down to a 1v1 with
mixed it up a lot
second.
as well. I think that's what, whenever I see a team that can only like dive or only do executes, I'm like, okay, this is an average team with maybe great coaching staff, but it feels like a lot of the sort of slower rounds with mid-rounding, I've been impressed by XOG, and you take away the pistol and the follow-up, and this is an incredibly close match. The problem, though, is now they are in a case of this ends 6-6, you go into the second half, you're happy. If this ends 8-4, I think most people will have a lot of faith in the attack side of Paper X to be able to close this one out.
Well, touching base as well before we get back into the round, just on Happy Way, someone you highlighted as he had a tough, and the desk highlighted, had a tough map previously, and look at him now, 11-7. He's been there on this attack side in the previous round, almost ended up winning it out on time in the 1v3. Performance. Well, Raga's going to wait for his teammates to break that wall open. It's going to limit how far he can get. He can barely make it to the backside. Instead, he's going to tuck in default. Hunter's Fury coming through. Fired in deep from something. Clearing out these close corners on the site. Not finding any tags, but delaying the push.
It didn't really allow for much space to get back in either from the side of Paper X. They're waiting to move as a unit. Batman does have ult, but unless they really need this space, it's going to be tough. Divide goes a little bit ahead. They were still setting up utility on the remaining players, and No Man has been able to take that close contact, put them into spot, and especially with Forsaken coming in on this flank, he's managed to get past the trip. That's why nobody's looking in this direction. If this smoke fades, he might just have himself at least one freebie, but he's looking for more. In fact, he's going to take it all! Forsaken! A one-man retake! And another
shrouding his steps to great effect. He made it past that trap. As you said, camera placed deep on the site. They're worried about the retake from Market. They're worried about early contact for the player over on the box and backside.
1, 2, 3.
Instead, he smokes main, so they think, well, he's obviously not coming from here. They want to block this line of sight. And the timing could not have been better. That round was forsaken for XLG.
Sit down.
And one round left to play with.
Sit down, sit down.
XLG, 7-5 still possible. We'll move to the defense where we've had our questions. The answer's not far away, but will they be a pistol round away from correcting the scoreline or trailing by 4.
This is where the last round really could give them a little bit of wiggle room. Well, we've said that it's been a closer affair than maybe expected, but if it ends 2-0, it ends 2-0. They'll still be yet to win a map at a VCT international event. Maybe after how close the first one seemed, they might feel a little bit hard done by for that, but it won't change a thing. Already you can see some of the vulnerabilities, and more worryingly, it's that showstopper Viper's Pit on the other side. Like, there's so much to play with in this final round of the half.
Oh, the showstopper!
Nah.
It's round 3! Jing! That's unbelievable! XLG put it all into this. Around that can correct
Good.
the wrongs of this
Man,
half, but that has come falling apart. An explosive entrance into B main from Jing. An 8-4 locked in PaperX, doubling the score of their opponents in that first half.
They're just absolute insanity. Like, it just came down to a lot of those contact plays and Jing managing to get it done. Nonetheless, it's a pretty big recovery. We'll see if XLG can turn it going into the second half.
Easy sideline with PRX लेता clean. Clean 2-0.
Welcome back, folks. The halftime concluded, and it's time to get back into the game as we look at the Coinbase Econ report for our first half. And, well, it has to be said, PaperX, they should be leading in terms of the stats, 8-4 up.
Yeah, for sure. It's been one of those games where there's been a lot of crazy things, and a lot of it happened just in the last couple of rounds. If you've just joined us, you've missed a lot. I think we had a 0.02 spike exploding with almost what was an ace for Forsaken. He then decided, okay, I'm just going to stick to the 4Ks for today, come back behind and eliminate the whole opposing team in a retake.
Okay, we love you.
And then the next round, Jing decided to get 3 with a showstopper at the very beginning of it and end it before it even began. For XLG, this now comes down to a play of resilience. Like, can you turn the tide? And I'll be honest with you, Mitch, I think it starts with a pistol.
Very much so. A loss here send PaperX skyrocketing into the lead at 9-4, probably 10 on the board, and then they're already on the home stretch while XLG trail, clamber their way back into the game or attempt to. I like this early play, similar to what PaperX did. 3 players, walkabouts on mid, 1 late towards A, but it's pressure on Happyway. He can't overextend and go down, just falls back. Looks to punish anyone over aggressing and hopes that this flank can find a lot of value. But PaperX look like they want to play aggressive.
Well, this is where the wall causes issues. You're going to block off one avenue and then try and pressure the other. The only thing they really need to worry about is the flank, because they've sectioned everything else off. And actually, no, they're looking the wrong way, completely the wrong way. They've been foiled by their own plot, but there's still a couple of players standing. Jing, Forsaken, not in the best of positions to try and deny this, but that time is already ticking. Only somebody just getting onto the spike. They need to try and wrap back around, and that's exactly what Forsaken will do in this match. This man can do no wrong.
Oh, his impact has been outrageous. That pistol round was slipping through their fingers. The flank that should have been expected.
MVP Forsaken.
When he found his
Oh,
4K
he's
for main, there was at least a trap there giving them some security on the other side, but PaperX had no reason to believe that that space was clear. They get caught off guard, and oh, it's just so nasty.
All I'm going to say is he's already got a bracelet on one arm. I think he's looking for a bracelet on the other. If he keeps this sort of performance up the entire tournament, I think he's going to be dual-wielding by the end. This man knows how to put up MVP performances. And well, map number 1, he always said that the agent he'd never played was Brimmy. He started playing the Brimmy, and it didn't look fantastic. But stick the man on an Omen. He's having a ball. And well, I said it was almost imperative for XLG that they get themselves a pistol. 9-4 down, their opponent's map choice. PaperX going into the attack half. And when they have shown strength on this map, that's where it's been. Solid victories on that side versus Sentinels, Fnatic, T1 more recently. And it was a defensive side defeat when they struggled versus Zeta. Everything is set for them to now take this map.
What's a good stack from XLG. 4 players on the B side, 2 of them with Sheriffs. The other on the polar opposite of where this hit's coming through. A lot of players from PaperX, though, covering this plant. They've got numbers even after the barrels run, or the mags run dry. Something with a nice shot over the wall, and it looks like a lot of the danger already dealt with. No man traded out, and that's really the story of this take. Even if one player lands that first shot, PaperX flooding in like this, they've got the numbers to back it up. Finally, it will be divided close, and 10-4 on the line. But this was not the round XLG were fighting for. It all comes down to round 15. Rifles in play, both sides.
Yeah, well that was the investment of the last round. It was mostly into stingers, a couple of rifles. I also think this is the point you'll make a lot of the time when it comes to Sage. Like there's been critique a lot through history of this agent, but one thing it gives you, especially on a map like this with a lot of different elevations, is sometimes you don't know the angles you're covered or not. And that's about as free as a kill as you're ever going to get. Because let's be real, there aren't that many teams to play with the Sage. Okay, a very aggressive early start to the round, but it is No Man. But impressed so far with him on the Neon. And he started off strong again.
Well, yeah, it's No Man and Jing both trying to get that early contest for this corner. And even with the Boombot backing him up, Jing can't get it done. Forsaken, I think, heard that cam activate. Certainly now did. He knows it's there. He's calling for it. We see the pings that he wants to walk on through. Has to catch a timing. Even with that smoke, the TP will be heard. He'll be seen walking through. Nice shot by No Man yet again, delivering. And as he looks up at the cam, that's a wonderful punish. What is going on with something here? And a swing from No Man that gets punished. Something's got 3. And I think Devi is about to go down. He's trapped in the corner with a sliver of HP. But in comes his old buddy. Something here to save the day is for this fam! An ace from something! An XLG from 1 foot in the grave to bury deep behind round after round of PaperX success.
I need to see the POV on the first 2 kills, because I feel like there were 2 players in Elbow that I don't really understand how he's walked out of it alive. Oh, they're just isolated. Okay, fair enough. He gets 2 bites of the cherry. It's incredibly clean, though. An absolute headshot machine throughout the round. And I don't even know if he reloaded in the middle of all of that. It was always going to be one of them, you felt like, to take the first ace of the tournament. And something will be there. Mentioned maybe Forsaken looking for another bracelet. Maybe he's looking for one that goes with his keyboard.
They'll have to be in gold. 11-4. And a timeout for XLG. Oh.
At these last few rounds, it hasn't even felt like the round 14. You're talking about you're on eco. Round 13, you probably should have won, but Forsaken clutches it out.
Yep.
Round 15, you probably should have won, but you get aced. Like, what are you going to say? Oh, we need to play get together a little bit more.
Don't let Forsaken get a 4K. Don't let something get an ace. and we're good. And that's the thing, I feel
it's
like...
It's crazy that you retired as a coach in 2020. Or was it 2021?
I didn't say retired. I'm still open to offers.
Oh, okay.
I'll evaluate in the offseason.
Maybe when Alliance come back, you'll get another job.
I think that's the only thing.
Hello.
I'm happy where I'm at for now. Let's put it that way. I think I'm better suited. But for Paper X, 11 rounds on XLG in a position where it's really a rock and a hard place. Do you fully rest now? Do you wait? They're going to come in with 2 Guardians, mostly keeping some credits for the next. Nice opening from
file download गरेको थियो होला
relatively easy round. That was
आइडी ह्याक लाग्यो भने भनेको थियो DCC सब डिलिट गरेछ
full blinded up.
अघि नै आइडी ह्याक लाग्यो भने त्यसले स्ट्रङले
That's a pretty hefty
DCC सब डिलिट गरेछ डिस्कर्ड सब डिलिट गरेछ
Give it the coconut.
Willing to
PC बाट
also Forsaken's been
के भन्छ खै एभ्रीथिङ डिड अन PC भन्छ
put them in a good spot. Bear in mind the spike plant here for Divide would get him his ultimate online. Likely bring back someone who's been terrifying if it even gets to that point because they've already got an advantage.
Yeah, worth putting it in obviously in this position. If something can fade back, this is where you'll see your Sova play in main. Most of the time, Hunter's Fury for post plan, but no, they want to fight. Of course they do. This is Paper X we're talking about here. What's going on? Is that fight? Divide closes it out. That came down to a 1v1. They needed a 3K.
कहाँ गएर के फाइलहरु लिंकहरु थिचे थियो कि
त्यसो नगर्नु पर्ने हो त्यो त एकदम सचेत भएर हिँड्ने मान्छे हो
कसरी चाहिँ ह्याक हुन्छ त नि
कसरी थाहा भइले ह्याक भयो कसरी थाहा भयो
त्यो खै यो के रे स्क्यान गर्दाखेरि यो के देखाएको थियो यहाँ स्क्यान गरे भने यसले
एमआरटीसिङ गरेको
Well, here's a
Hunter's Fury immediately.
It's an early one, and it's Forsaken going deep on the back of the Chaos. Viva, good for the trade, and Noman doing the same. Numbers light on the A site. Noman's the last point of defense, so he'll fall back. Rotate had come through. Viva, who started over, went back to take that kill and spawn. Drones out mid, clears it.
त्यसरी उ गर्नु चाहिँ हुँदैन जे पाए त्यो लिंकहरु केही उहरु के रे सफ्टवेयरहरु हालेको थियो कि सफ्टवेयर गेम चाहिँ
त्यसो छैन यो बाहिरको गेमबाट गेम डाउनलोड गर्ने
going through all of this utility. Feels like a little bit of a risk. Paranoia even being thrown through as well. So they're going to know that there's a couple of players here at least. Curious to see if Paper X still opt to actually execute in this direction. They're throwing in more utility. Boombot to play close.
35 seconds. Now we're limited on options. We got to work the spams through the smoke, take down the guy in the choke. Shock dart's fantastic, and the swings are even better. XLG with a round win, still trailing by 7. But they got to take this comeback one step at a time.
It's a good round from them. Something to note as well is it really does feel like a Sage War. How far you can get it now actually makes things really interesting because Divide put that wall in from inside main. Like he was just like, I might as well give it a go, just try and give us a little bit of extra space, but it feels like it goes incredibly far. I don't mind the buff though, because I feel like a lot of the aspects of what people are using this for before basically boosting themselves up brings a slight bit of tactical element to it. Well, a weak buy, but potentially a much faster one. I like the kill trips.
Great position lead. It's a little bit explosive. Jing hits that. Happy way down now. Jing revealed in the corner, but he's got backup now. He's going to start to float back out. No man looking for market control as a deep late play from Patman. Will it be attempted? But there might not be anyone left to flank. Jing's already got 3.
He's still going.
Coconut's being watched on the flank as Jing looks for his 4th. He won't find it, but they'll clean up anyway.